Hello everyone and welcome back to the Longplay Club for Metal Gear Solid 2. This is the conclusion of Sons of Liberty. I'm your host today, Christian Buckley, codename Puma, joined by Omar Nakvi, codename Komodo Dragon.
Hey!
You've been sitting on the end of this game for 2 weeks at this point.
Oh yeah, it's been weighing on my life and every action I take and every thought I make. It's something, alright.
Mm-hmm. How you doing?
Good, yeah. What's up?
Kevin Diaz is also here, Komodo Dragon as well.
Greetings. This game is interesting. Can't wait to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Streamed it last night. If you want to see someone that, again, I'm the butterfly to protect here on this podcast, right, from spoilers and everything. Had no clue going in to the ending of MGS2. So if you want to see someone that has no clue, no parameter of anything, check that out. But yeah, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to discuss with you gentlemen.
Hell yeah.
Sure.
And rounding out the long play, Jack Martin, codename Iguana.
Hello, I'm very excited to talk about this game, no holds bar now that we've all beaten the game.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin knows what's up. Kevin Diaz investigations will now be examined and potentially closed after
The main theme I'm walking into this, guys, is that I don't know where to begin.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of things here, and I don't know what even is worth closing anymore. I don't know if we're gonna be having these investigations for MGS3, like these specific ones. I don't know, man. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Well, you said you don't know where to begin. I think I do. Maybe we should just go through the like normal video game stuff that we did to get to the ending, and then once we hit the ending, we can just open up a little more, go kind of freeform with it, because the last hour of this game is kind of just a lot of talking and a lot of stuff they throw at you. So I feel like the best way to handle that is talk about the gaminess first. Specifically, last week we left off fighting Vamp in the water room, and then immediately going this week into the falling hallway, doing some swimming, and finding Emma Emmerich, also known as EE, the informant for Hal and Snake, who tipped off some information earlier in the game. But I wrote in my notes, EE, more like PP, because that runs in the family.
Yep, nailed it.
Thank you.
Fucking nailed it.
Thank you.
GG's in the chat.
So,
GG's.
Omar, meeting Emma, obviously it pairs well with the way Snake meets Hal on Shadow Moses. Like, we'll see. Much of this game does, but for you, you're a big Otakon fan. What was it like meeting
I wouldn't
his sister?
say...
I know you're not the Otakon fan on the panel, but...
There's some
What's
stuff
good?
about Otakon that maybe I don't want to say I'm a big Otakon fan right now, but I'm sorry.
Otakon canceled? Question mark.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
He had a rough life.
yeah. Meeting her, though, like, what's your initial impression of her? Because I was uncomfortable, but, like, what do you think of Emma in her introduction?
I think it's a lot of that, like, Kojima saw Jurassic Park and, like, the scene where the girl was like, I know what a Unix system is, and there's a hacker 90s trope thing in here. I don't mind it. I think it's kind of cool. I like Jennifer Hale. What can I say? I think she does a good job as Emma.
Mm-hmm.
And
returning.
Yeah, right. She was Naomi in the first game, right? Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Don't know.
Do we know how old she's supposed to be? Because that always... the first time I played the game, that threw me for a loop also. I was like...
That's a giant question.
Is she
Christian.
like
Thank you.
14 and
question.
she's just this hacker pro? Like, how old is she?
No, mid-20s. She's like 25.
Okay.
Yeah, she doesn't need her parents to sign a signature for her to go work on this whatever this ends up being. So
yeah, because they definitely don't like play it that way. I feel like she's definitely like maybe it's just because she has a lot of trauma or something, but she's definitely like she seems a lot younger than she is.
Let's say she's Raiden's age.
Okay, fair.
See, like she seems a lot older, but then also like when they show like, by the way, the beautiful backstory, like way they presented that, like almost like a dreamy-esque type of wallpapers, super super cool. But the way they like showed Otakon in those, he looked like relatively like grown, right? Like not like a kid, you know, like at least 17, 18, 15, 16, like somewhere in that range, right? Like he definitely grew into his body already, right? So that's why like I'm like, wait, how old is Otakon then? Like, I don't know. But yeah, I thought she was straight up like 13, 14, 15, you know. So then that's why as we continue, like it got kind of questionable, at least from my point of view. But I guess if she's grown, then she's grown. All right.
Yeah, no, Kevin, I definitely see where you're coming from, because I think the way it's presented, it can be interpreted that way pretty easily. Because I also had the same thing, like during that flashback, and like Hal's like kneeling down, you know, to like meet eye level with her, and I was like, oh, so like, is it like a 10-year age gap? Like, how old are they? Like in difference? I don't know, but I do think Jennifer Hale does a very good job playing this character. I think Emma is a clearly central part of this game, for the ending at least, and you know, Otakon's motivations and a lot of the reason why Snake showed up to this event. But yeah, I think as a character, she's very interesting. Jack, in your meeting with Emma, what was your major takeaway from her entire introduction before the escort portion?
Was this a point where she was essentially dropping information about GW and like Arsenal gear? Or are you talking about just like very initial?
Mostly initial, because I think she drops the info once you get back to the room with Vamp, like after the first time swimming. So
I guess my initial thought was like what you said, or like what others were saying, where it was essentially just like, oh, this is the inverse of meeting Hal, where again you find an Emmerich in a locker and they pee their pants. So that was pretty funny, and of course that's just one of the running ties to Metal Gear Solid 1. But yeah, as a character, she's very reminiscent of Otakon from the original, and just I guess in this one as well. And yeah, I like seeing Jennifer Hale back at it again, even though it's only for like less than an hour.
So Kevin, this is something you were worried about going into this week. Immediately after her introduction, we have to swim her through the water. How did that go for you? Because I know you were nervous. Was it as bad as you thought it was going to be?
Like, the swimming part wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. What made me eye roll, like, are you fucking kidding me? Is that like, okay, so somehow she got shot in her legs and she can't walk and I have to fucking, like, you know, babysit her? Are you joking? So, like, that was kind of like, bruh. like, so I think that's what made it quote unquote bad, but like it wasn't for that long. So, you know, yeah. But I thought it was super annoying how like because why?
Yeah.
Like well, I mean, like, so did like Vamp shoot her with this like, I don't know, like this like tranquilizer type thing, like paralyzer, I guess, you know, so that she wouldn't escape? Is that what it is? Like, why is that even there in the first place? You know?
I think that's what's implied. Like,
okay,
you remember in like the original Iron Man where like Obadiah comes up with like that thing that just makes people unable to move for like 20 minutes?
Box of scraps.
Yeah.
Box of scraps.
Like,
vaguely. I actually don't remember.
It's that Sonic thing. He puts it by their ear and then they can't move. I took it like it's just like a way to keep her still, because everybody's going to Arsenal at that point, so you'd assume it's like, hey, you're not allowed to come, to make sure you don't just escape because nobody's patrolling up here anymore. Here's a shot that it's gonna keep you immobile, even though she probably wouldn't escape anyway. But yeah,
she can't swim, so I mean,
yeah. But after that initial swimming section, which again I didn't really have an issue with at all. I didn't have an issue last week. Omar, Jack, did you guys have trouble with the swimming portion for Emma?
Not particularly. It's pretty much the same as when you're just swimming by yourself, except Emma has a smaller O2 gauge, so you have to be aware of that. But I remember, like, with discussions on the internet about this, that this was like way longer, and people had a really big issue with the fact that it's an escort mission. It's also an underwater escort mission. Mm-hmm. So I remember that being a much bigger deal than, to me, this ended up being. And it's like, this is like what, minus the cutscene in the middle, like getting to the sniper portion, maybe like 15 minutes of gameplay. It's really not that long.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Omar, you have pretty much the same sentiment, or?
Yeah, it was easy shit. Yeah. I don't know. I'm a pro gamer. I played it on very easy, but look.
But like Jack said, we do get a decently chunky cutscene. Pales in comparison to some of the other ones this week. But then this is where Emma gives a bit more information about GW. Now, Jack, this is what you were talking about for something that left more of an impression on you with Emma's introduction. So what stood out here for you?
Yeah, there's a few things. So there's the fact that the GW, like the AI within Arsenal Gear, I think this was like confirmed to be, or she like reiterated that GW would be used to control digital information, and that Arsenal Gear was basically used as a housing unit to protect GW. So like that's seemingly the most important part of Arsenal Gear is this AI GW. Also, I think it's here. They allude to the fact that Y2K was a cover-up for the Patriots as a way to install like these programs within computers so that GW could access them and just manipulate computers within that. So I thought that was hilarious, just because they're using like real-world events. I always think that's funny. Like, oh, remember this thing? Well, it was actually this. And we did talk about that, how in Metal Gear Solid 1, there was probably a much more offensive use of that with soldiers and whatnot. In the Iraq War. But yeah, I thought this was funny.
Yeah, do you remember Y2K? I'm like, are they really working on Y2K? Are you serious? Like, this is lit. Like, oh man, and that must have happened like only like 2 years before this came out, right?
Yeah, 2 or 3 years, I think.
Yeah,
or like even a year. Yeah,
MGS2 was 2001.
It was right? November 2001.
So like, mid development is when the whole thing went down. So like implementing that in, I think, is really interesting.
There's actually a lot about like, I think, with the way they made that game about New York City, like during that time they had to make some changes, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
That was in the I watched the Digital Foundry like retro video last night. It was like an hour long of the game, and that's one of the things they said. Like it was due out in November. Obviously September happens, 2001. And they had to change a lot of the ending. Mm-hmm. Like I guess it was supposed to be like a bigger scene of seeing Arsenal Gear like crash on into New York and all that. Mm-hmm. But they obviously cut a lot of it. Yeah,
because Kevin, I did this Wednesday morning. I finished the game, and then because I wanted to like see some of your reactions during your stream, and one of the big things I wanted to pay attention to was that final cutscene there, because I thought I might have missed something, because it's like, oh, it's in the river, and then all of a sudden we're at Federal Hall. And I was like, wait, did I miss something? Was I looking away? But no, that makes sense.
It like definitely jumped,
right?
Like randomly, right? Like so I bet it was there where they cut a lot of it. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, there was a lot of media at that time that came out around the time of 9/11 or shortly after that was altered. Like the original Spider-Man was teased with. Like the movie was teased with the Twin Towers in its trailer. Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro had a whole boss fight on the Twin Towers that was like entirely removed for the game. So it's interesting that this specifically this game came out around that time. Obviously, just happened to release at that time. So yeah, super interesting.
Yeah, there were a few other pieces of information that I took some notes on during this info drop. I think the way that she phrased this initial conversation I thought was interesting, because she's like, it's hard to put into words what's going on, so let me call you by codec. And then that kind of was just like, so how does the codec work again? Like, are people speaking, are they thinking these words? Are they humming? Like, what? How does this work?
Fuck, man, I don't know.
I don't know. What does it make of these? Like, it's.
You could also see people's faces. It makes no sense.
It's always question me when it's like, hey, let's like go on, let's talk this way when they're right next to each other, and it's like, wait,
because like
why
you'd like in some of those instances it's like, okay, well there's surveillance cameras around, so they just don't want to be talking about it. So at that point it's like, okay, so the codec isn't talking. Like, are they doing that to like converse?
These people are going nuts.
Yeah, I don't get it, but it's still cool. That stood out to me.
It's like, for a game that makes you think so much about like the way it ties mechanics to the story, and still like getting into a gunfight and then being able to pause the action just on a phone call. I don't get it. I just don't know how that happens.
It's very video gamey.
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, in its story, it does make some interesting choices in this cutscene. I wrote that the Patriots are afraid of Twitter. I think that was mainly just... I think that was an abridged version of Emma saying that, like, oh, they realize that the individual has power in the digital age. I think she was talking something like that.
I would say Facebook more so than Twitter.
Sure, yeah.
Just boomer central over there with misinformation.
Yeah. And then also they discussed gene suppression in this cutscene, which I think is interesting because I think it's Emma, or maybe this is when like Hal joins the call, but they mention the idea of how this manipulation works, where at the turn of the century it was reported by a scientific study that humans have like 60,000 genes or something like that. And they're like, actually, it's 100,000, but for some reason they just wanted to cover up the other 40. Don't know why, but all of those were standouts, I thought, in terms of sort of displaying and giving reasoning for the power of the misinformation thing. Because Raiden, he's educated enough to know these things, but clearly he does not know that he's been lied to. So, good early instance of that. There was one other thing that I liked here, and it was talking about like the subsystem of GW exists in our social structure. That was the line. And again, I think that was what was leading into the Y2K thing of just like, hey, we're in such a globalized world at this point. But I just took so many notes here because I think this is the first instance of the end of this game being like, wow, they knew what was coming. They really like knew what the next decade and a half would bring.
Yeah, we can get into this later, but it's like bizarre how prescient this game is. Yeah. It's like really, we were talking about how, I think you guys were mentioning how like there's elements of horror in Metal Gear Solid. This is the scariest game because it's like, it's actually just a truth teller. They it knew what was coming, oddly. It's really scary.
So, I think, was there anything else that stood out from that call that we want to bring up before we get to the rest of the escort quest?
Did Hal and Emma, like, talk for the first time in a while? Was that here?
I think so, yes.
Okay. I don't remember how that conversation went down, but I think that was the first time they'd talked in a while.
I will say, when we were talking about horror and Metal Gear Solid last week or something, I was thinking specifically about this part, this whole ending of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is very, jarring, and we will get to that, of course. But I think this was where that introduction of Hal and Emma was happening, Jack, and it was like bickering, and I kind of just liked that they were kind of like trailing on, and then it cuts to Snake and Raiden just like each having to deal with the bullshit like on their own end. They're just like, hey, ignore that. Like it's just we're gonna keep going here.
I think Hal was essentially like, why would you do this to, like, if you knew that this was in our family's legacy? And she was like, to get back at you, essentially. So like the seeds are being set for like the coming cutscene of their family backstory.
Yes. So back to the escort quest. Kevin, walk me through. Was there any other issues? Because this is where the majority of the escorting happened, with holding her hand and getting through this area. There was one, I think, instance where you had to cross some guards in like one of the Strut L hallways, I think. Did anybody end up getting caught here? Was this where your frustration was mostly, Kevin?
No. I don't think it was too bad, to be honest. Mm-hmm. Like I did notice in my playthrough when there were gaps in the bridge. Oh, I forgot. In the area that we leave, where we get Emma from, I guess Shell Core 2, mm-hmm. going out and to get to Strut L, that bridge in the previous episode had like holes in it, right? So you have to jump over those. But they added those planks because guards came, mm-hmm. right? So I'm like, okay, that's clever. And of course you're escorting Emma. I found more uses for the coolant, right? Mm-hmm. To get some bugs away from the elevator, and to put out that fire to get to where you need to go. Mm-hmm. Which I did not realize that you could use that for the fire, but it worked out very well. So yeah, like nothing crazy that I remember was super hard or anything like that. As far as I'm aware, I don't. I think we're good. But then there's the sniper thing, which we gotta talk a little bit about, because yeah, that was quite interesting. Quite interesting.
I will say, Kevin, I definitely hear where you were before about like just the escort and like the hand holding part being annoying. Because in like one of those joining areas, I think there were guards that I didn't see, and I got alerted, and then I had to deal with that. I actually threw a stun grenade towards the guards, and it also knocked out Emma.
Oh shit!
So like I couldn't grab her hand and pick her up, like, so I had to hold square and drag her like a dead body throughout like the rest of the room.
No way.
That was a little tricky, but
yeah, we were just sneaking past the guards. We were just very, very careful. Just sneaky. Let's just not get caught. Mm-hmm. And let's just go.
Sure. So after we get through this escort mission, we get out to the sniper duel. Omar, you talk a lot about this game looking painterly. I think going out onto these connective bridges down here against the water with the sunset, this is one of my favorite looking places in the game. How do you feel seeing this?
Dude, it looks so good. It's all on that lighting or something, or I don't know what they do, but my god,
it looks beautiful. Yeah. Straight up. Mm-hmm. Yeah, straight up.
I definitely think you're right about the lighting, because, you know, Big Shell is like an orange facility, and then having sunset, and then, you know, like the golden orange sunset lighting against the water and also bouncing off of Big Shell, like, it looks great. And I would honestly be interested to see how like a modern day lighting setup would look here, even with like not touching anything else, just like letting like reflections work here a little better. But yeah, I think this looks wonderful.
Are you suggesting a ray trace Metal Gear Solid 2 remaster?
Perhaps.
Okay. I'll play that.
So we then have to cover Emma. Jack's made some Sly Cooper comparisons here. This is very much like Sly Cooper 1 when you have to cover Murray going through these locations.
Yep.
Okay, I know sniping was an issue in Metal Gear Solid 1. Is it an issue here also?
Not at all. No, it was pretty easy.
Yeah, I think the fact that you can... The shift to, like, the PS2 graphics, and the fact that you can, like, better interpret what you're looking at, and just being able to move a little bit more freely helped it out a lot. I found the Trank Sniper that you were talking about, Christian, along the way. It's in one of the air pockets, like right before Stillman's body. So I found that, and I was using that. And there's a certain point where Snake calls you and is like, "Hey, I can help you out. Just point your sniper in the direction. I'll just take out whatever." And it's like, "All right." And he just does the work for you at that point. So that
Wait,
was
seriously?
Just
I thought that he was just shooting just if I take too long to get at a target or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I didn't realize that you would just aim and like he would fire for you. Huh.
I think you might have had to manually call him. He was like, "Hey, if you call me, if you just point your sniper in the direction, I'll just do the work for you." So I did, and yeah, he just went to town.
Okay.
Kevin mentioned this last time on his stream, but the soundtrack during this part also is
Bangs.
real good. Yeah,
Bangs, fire, fuego. I agree.
That's very good. Jack, you mentioned being able to see things better here. They drop the thermal goggles. Did anybody get them earlier? Because the way they phrased it made it sound like you might have had them already. I didn't, and then they spawned in front of me.
Yeah, I got them earlier at some point.
Okay.
I don't know where. I honestly couldn't tell you, but I did have them already. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think I did as well. I'm looking through my notes here to see, but I can't find where. Probably in Strut F, as everything else was.
Sure.
But yeah, I did have this before.
Omar, did you find the thermals at all? Because I had no idea that those were optional
no,
at all.
I don't even think I realized I had him at that point. I don't know. I just was just brute forcing it. I think.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I eventually, honestly, I turned the thermals off because that's a pretty lengthy segment, and that thermal vision hurt my eyes after like 8 minutes. It was rough.
Yeah.
But
I just kept it on, but yeah, no, like it definitely strained the eyes a little bit for sure. Yeah, those very poppy, vibrant colors and everything, like it helped for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely painful a little bit.
So we're taking our time here, right? We're going through this sniper section. Emma is almost at the end, and then who comes back? Can't kill a vampire. There's a vamp. Kevin, what do you think of this? You think he was dead? Did he surprise you? What happened?
I low-key thought he was dead, honestly, but now, like, in retrospect, looking back, it's like, no, we didn't do anything special, really. Like, so it definitely made sense for him to still be alive. I just was not expecting it, to be honest. Now, this is where I'm not sure if I made a critical error, but I think I did. But chat told me I didn't. I honestly don't know. Okay. So I had forgotten the little toggle to zoom in on the PSG one, right? So your boy was kind of having not that much magnification, trying to aim at Vamp, which is very difficult. Emma's right in front of him and all that. And I may or may not have shot Emma a few times, right? Before I landed a headshot on Vamp, right? So this is where something interesting happened, right? So I thought that I had shot Emma, right? And that's why she started to bleed out and all that. But then Snake, calls Otakon, or like Otakon calls Snake, and Snake tells Otakon that, hey, Emma was stabbed. So then I'm like, oh, okay, like that's a really like interesting way to show that like Snake is covering for Raiden or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like because I thought that he just saw me shoot her, and just is like, hey, this guy, rookie, shit happens, right? And it like, yeah, so that's what I thought, right? But I guess Snake actually either A, believes that Vamp did stab Emma, or is covering for me. Which I'm not sure which one is the truth.
No, Vamp stabbed Emma. I think if Raiden shot her, he'd be crying. I think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's definitely a Vamp thing.
But would he? Because like, you know, we then know that, you know, he doesn't feel anything when he kills people, right? Like he doesn't, he lacks empathy. He enjoys killing, right? So like I thought that's how they explained why he didn't feel anything when he shot Emma. You know what I'm saying?
I think
Slash
that's
if
him
slash
wrestling
now.
with his past, but I think he seems to have moved on from that in the beginning, early parts of the game, or from. I think I don't know. He definitely showed remorse or was freaked out at a few times at some stuff. But no, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, because Omar, what you're saying too, I think at this point in the game, Raiden still isn't aware of his past. So like, because he's been suppressing that memory and like, honest to God, I don't think he really knows right then that he did that stuff. I think it does present him as a bit more green, the way that we've seen him through most of the game, right? And then it's only when that shift happens that like it's, oh, okay, yeah, he doesn't have as much remorse. He still has a conscience, but like he has less of an issue with the moment to moment stuff, and just like, why am I doing this is more of his issue. But yeah, I don't think you shooting her played into anything that happened, Kevin. I'm pretty sure Vamp did stab her, because in the sequence where, you know, she's being bandaged up, Snake mentions like, I think he got like some internal organs, like there's bleeding there, and I don't think a bullet, any way you might have shot her, would have been able to enter from like her back and then also cut up her organs.
Okay, wait, so see, because chat was saying like, oh no, Kevin got the bad ending. Oh shit, here we go. You fucking killed Meryl, you fucking killed Emma, here we go. So is that not like, did everyone's Emma die?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so they were just screwing with me.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's what I thought. I'm like, oh shit. Guys, I'm sorry I kill all these ladies in these games. I'm sorry. I don't mean to. I don't mean to.
What's interesting here, because I forgot if that could be the case here, and I didn't want to accidentally shoot Emma, because I thought I'd just get a game over. I didn't think there would be an issue. So what I did here was, like Jack mentioned, I called Snake to see it, because he has the better angle. So I called Snake. I was like, hey, can you take this shot? I call him, and then I just get a ... and then he hangs up. And then I have to go back and shoot Vamp.
Big yikes.
So
he was
What
like,
are you
nah,
doing
fam,
calling
I
me,
saw it.
Raiden? Take the shot.
it's like, you have the angle, dude. But no, yeah, so Emma gets stabbed, and then Hal to the rescue. We have to make our way to the next area, and then we are granted with the deets. Omar, I know this is what's been on your mind with this portion of the game so far.
Well, yeah, forgive me everyone for spoiling it last week. I don't know if you remember, but I totally said it. But
Wait, what did you say?
I said like Hal was sleeping with Emma's mom.
How did I miss that? Wait, what the fuck?
Because
I
then
don't
we
even recall
covered it
you
up.
saying-
We
Yeah.
covered it up.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
you were
okay.
We buried it.
Don't fuck
Yeah.
me.
Thank you. No, it's not like weighing on my mind. Just one of those like weird things about Metal Gear Solid 2 that I still don't really understand. To be honest, it's oh shit. Sorry.
So, can you, I guess, just like walk us through the general takeaways here and like just how you took it?
Okay, well, isn't it like Otakon's dad is suicidal because Otakon's having a relationship with his wife, and and then like what, the dad went to drown himself in the pool while Otakon was sleeping with said wife,
Yes.
and and Emma also drowned during that or something, right? Or what
I
happened?
think Emma was nearby and wanted to help but couldn't, and yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's one of those like intense trauma things that I think, especially with Otakon or being in complete shambles and tears, I think that's just a callback to Metal Gear Solid 1 more than anything, and I almost think it's like a almost over the top for the sake of being over the top. It's a weird detail to write into Otakon's character, I think. But
Mhm.
I don't know. What do you guys think? Were you shocked by it?
I mean, I was just shocked that like they like kind of just said it, and then we kind of just kept going. I was like, wait, like that's a big thing that I don't like. I need some time. There was a lot of revelations going on, during this whole part, but like, correct me if I'm wrong, but like, does like Otakon say that like she seduced him, right? Like, I know he made the choice to keep continuing the relationship, right? So there's obviously a wrong there, of course, right? But was it more motivated from like the mom's perspective initially, and then Otakon just wanted to just continue it? I guess like was that?
It's not like it sounds like it was assault, right? Like,
yeah, that's what I'm trying to understand. Like, I don't know if it was like that degree or they just got carried away. I don't know. Stepmom. That whole dynamic. I don't know.
Yeah. Another prescient thing for understanding internet trends 20 years later.
I wrote down. I said in my notes, MGS2 predicted quote step bro.
Yeah.
Yep. But I think like really I think it was one of those things where it's like an older person is like sort of grooming or making this younger person do something that they normally wouldn't do. And how do you get out of that with this idea that like this person's like your caretaker or it's just a very uncomfortable situation. But clearly, Otakon has guilt about it, even though, yes, he was... I don't know if he was underage at the time or just young, like, even in his, like, 20s, being in this situation where it's, like, he is, like, this young, fresh person as, like, no... I would assume this was his first sexual encounter, so he was probably very confused. Yeah, I think there's just, like, a lot of guilt involved, and I don't think he was necessarily at fault, but I think he was in one of those situations where it's like, I don't know, it's just like an uncomfortable thing, and I don't know. There are so many subplots to this game, I'm like, wow, we're really just building onto this, huh?
Yeah.
I have a question for the three of you. Tell me if I interpreted this wrong. Did Emma have a crush on Otakon?
Yes. Yes.
That was another question I had.
Yeah,
that was another question.
Like, I didn't, like, as it was happening and she's like, oh, there's someone more important than a boyfriend or a crush, that's the reason I wear glass, and stuff like that, and, like, the way they used to play house, and then, like, the way they were talking about it, I was like, am I just tainted? Am I looking at this in a weird way, or, like, is that what's actually happening here?
Right. For me, it wasn't the glasses part. Like, the like, glasses part, I thought, oh, okay, cool, like, older brother love, I get it. You know what I'm saying? Cool. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't have an older brother, but you know what I'm saying? Like that like sibling love, okay, cool, like I get it. Like that one wasn't really that bad. It was when they were talking about the house thing and how she would play the wife and he'd play the husband. Like that is where we get like, okay, there could be like a very like child-hearted, like, you play.
Yeah.
Like there could be that, or it could be a little bit of a different slant, which I thought was a little bit of a different slant at that point, for sure. Yeah.
I think it's kind of maybe just a thing that might have been like lost in translation a bit, maybe a localization thing, or maybe just a difference in culture stuff where it definitely seems a little weird here, but I think it's just sibling love, to be honest.
I wanted to like lean into that, and I was like, it probably is. It's probably just like, okay, Otakon was a loner, and like, you have the benefit of like, I have two other siblings, and like, we're close, right? Like, so we're friends basically, on that level. So there is that support there, and Emma being much younger, like, I feel like that's a thing. Like younger kids are like, oh, let's play house, and then it's like, okay, sure, I'll play along. Like I wanted to look at it from that angle, but I feel like there's just so many other elements alongside that just made it seem differently. And Omar, I think you might be right that it is just a translation thing, maybe. But it definitely, I was wondering if I was looking at it the wrong way.
No, I mean, I also looked at it that way too. Like sometimes, like, you know, I think it is weird, but I
kind of think that's what they were going for.
Right.
Like, especially when Otakon was, this whole, like, the whole relationship between their families is just so messy as it is, like, that I don't think this would be surprising. And Otakon goes on a tangent where it's like, those two were both, like, looking for love in the world.
Yeah.
And essentially implies that they were waiting for someone to love them, but like they shouldn't have waited. It was kind of already right there in front of their face. So yeah, it's a step bro situation.
Oh man, yeah, that was quite like, and it's like, can I even like justify being an Otakon fan at this point? You know, honestly, I don't know, gentlemen. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. You know, so there is that. But I'm gonna give a nice little, like, a light shout out to the character, of Otakon from MGS1. Shout out to him. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
the pants pisser,
I also think this whole part added a little bit more to like the way he reacted towards Sniper Wolf a little bit. You know, like I think now like you get a better sense of like, okay, like, you know, yeah, it was a little bit of like a simping type of thing, but also it's like, you know, he was desperate for love, right? Just because of his upbringing, right? So I think it adds a little bit more to that too, which definitely I appreciated that context.
Yeah, I forgot a lot about the end of this game. So hearing like when Emma dies and like she's like, "Oh, just call me Emma," and then he calls her EE again, and then like she dies, and then he starts crying out. That was like, oh man. But then when he's crying and then like they play in like the wolf howl, I was like, that's fucking sick. And then it's like it actually transitions into flashbacks. So it's like, okay, this is less cool, but still I like this. Like Omar, seeing again, we got those MGS1 models thrown in here.
It's why you can't remake Metal Gear Solid 1, fellas. I'm telling you, those models are that game.
Yeah. So, I guess any other thoughts on the Emma arc of Metal Gear Solid 2 before we get into sort of the actual conclusion of the game? Because right after this, we really fly off. But
I want to shout out Snake for being a good friend and hugging Otakon immediately after this.
Yo, I freaked out. They have a fucking handshake.
yeah,
Let's fucking go. I was like, yo, that is the dopest thing. Did we even bring up the parrot? Because like I thought it was really sad, of course, when Emma actually dies. Omar pointed out on stream, I don't know why homie couldn't just call her Emma. Like literally it's her dying wish.
Yeah,
just
dude.
call her Emma.
Yeah.
And he goes, EE. I'm like, bro, like, just call her Emma.
What's wrong with EE?
Yeah, you literally said what's wrong with EE. I'm like, bro, like, doesn't matter at this point.
Yeah.
The parrot is where like it really kind of like added to like the pain. Like that, like it. I think without context could be construed as like a little bit cheesy, but I think it works given all the context and everything.
Yeah.
Now we know why there was another investigation. Now we know why the parrot says how. So
closed.
Case closed. It is Emma's parrot.
Yep. Yeah, overall, it's like it's very weird. It's very messy, but I still like this sequence because I think it again characterizes Otakon in a way that I feel makes him more of a flawed character in a way that's more interesting than Metal Gear Solid 1 when he's just like, oh, the curse of my family to create all these nukes. Because we still get that here, but like Otakon, he's still not a perfect person, and even though he's atoning for that, it's like, hey, you have plenty of other things wrong with you. And the fact that he's fighting against that, and then like he's with Snake just to be part, like fighting for a greater good, I still think makes him stronger, even if it is kind of weird. So
yeah, I'll say I don't think it's a bad thing to be a fan of Otakon.
Yeah, me either.
Because like what I was saying, I think he was manipulated into doing what he was doing with his stepmother. From like the sound of it, also like just from the perspective of being like a younger person, and being forced into this thing with someone who has power over you. I think that is it's worth noting that. So it's not like I like obviously he was doing a bad thing, and to a certain extent he probably was in some regard in control of that, but largely I think he was probably forced into that situation. Being the younger person. So I think I do like what Christian was saying. Like he is flawed in a lot of ways, and I think this sub arc is kind of weird and seemingly out of nowhere, but it does add to the messiness of his character and how he's trying to be better. So yeah.
And one last thing also, Jack, just because of what you're saying, like think about Otakon before this game. Like, before this game, he is a pushover, right? Like,
It's a fucking dork.
Yeah, so, like, I definitely think your read is probably correct. So, Kevin, I don't think you have to feel bad about liking Otakon.
Yeah. And, like, I definitely, like, did not, like, mean it in, like, that type of...
Right.
Oh, like, yeah. Like, just to be clear. Right, yeah. I hear you. Yeah. Shout out to Otakon.
Yes. So... After this, Snake does give time for all this to grieve, because he's Otakon's buddy. But despite that, like half the time, like when him and Raiden were just doing their side talk of like, "Hey, so what the fuck's happening right now?"
How about the virus, bro? While he's like having a breakdown, it's like,
yeah, I really like Snake and Raiden as like a duo here, because like. It's just a really interesting back and forth, I think, and it just gets more interesting through the rest of the ending. But Omar, we meet up with the cyborg ninja once again right after the scene.
Oh yeah. What should we say the name? Yeah. Of course. Olga. Olga. Did you expect that, Kevin? Did you see that coming?
At fucking all. Not at fucking all. At all.
Yeah.
Nada. Zilch. Nothing. Nope. That one was when like this. That I think that was when I was like, "Fuck! Like this shit about to get crazy. Like this. There's no going back. This is about to be wild." Yeah, but I'm thinking like, wait. I don't even know if that even makes sense. I mean, like it does, but does it? I could have sworn that Olga and the ninja had a interaction with each other.
They did not.
But I guess they didn't.
She acts like the ninja's not her though pretty often.
Yeah.
Where I know there are sequences where she's telling like Ocelot like what about that cyborg ninja or something.
Yeah. I mean, I guess she really played me. So I mean,
yeah,
it is what it is.
Because if we recall, the ninja was sent in by the Lalilulelo. However, Ocelot, very clearly in opposition of that, even though he's doing some double agent stuff, right? Which we'll get to. But Olga covering that she's working for the Lalilulelo. Yeah, I can see where there would be a bit of confusion there, but I think if you look at this, like the cyborg is clearly the true intention of her. Like that entire arc with the cyborg is like her true self at this point.
Yeah.
Everything else is a cover. Because I don't think she knows that Ocelot's the one that killed her dad, but yeah, we clearly see tension between the two of them, and she does not want to help him really outside of everything she has to keep up appearances.
With Raiden or
my best friend? Sorry.
With Raiden or with Snake? Like, because I know like there was a throwaway line of like Snake explained what happened during the tanker incident to Olga, but I don't know what exactly he explained.
Well, I think it was that she was like thankful for Snake for like saving her essentially, because she made it out alive.
Okay.
So they had that rapport.
Okay.
It's like an uneasy alliance. Like, hey, I owe you because you saved me and my child.
Right.
But,
Okay.
you know, I also am still this daughter of a Russian militiaman who died. Don't know how he died, but you got me out, so I'll help you out. Then we get, obviously, the who said I was on your side from Snake again.
Bedtime, Raiden. Please.
And when you save here, I thought it was interesting that Raiden's end is static, and then Rose is just like, you want to save? But this is where we really get into the meat, I think, because immediately after coming to...
We don't see the meat, though.
No, we don't.
Wait.
What's up?
I didn't quite... Wait, so why did Snake even knock Raiden out?
He
why?
explained it like he needed a way in to Arsenal.
Yes.
Okay.
I forget the details, but that was in effect a way of doing that.
Okay, so like Olga, not Ninja,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
Takes a knocked out Raiden.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Okay.
And then Snake uses that distraction to sneak in because there's no other way to get in. So, like, because they're like, oh, great, we found the intruder, then Snake is like, okay, sweet, I can just slip on in.
Got it.
But immediately, Omar, we see these lamps that are a 1-to-1 with the torture sequence of Metal Gear Solid 1.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Oh, I don't know, Christian.
Kevin,
I don't know.
Oh, go ahead, Omar.
Yeah. No, Kevin, that's what I want to hear from.
Kevin, seeing these, do you immediately make the connection? Like, does it stand out to you? Like, because I feel like that's so ingrained at this point, right? Like, those lights.
I hope that when I said this, I don't know if it was in the last episode of episode 2 of this series. I think it might have been, but I said that like there's a lot of parallels where like this game like feels like they just remade like MGS1 within MGS2, and lo and behold, later on we're gonna talk about that. And a much bigger standpoint. But this was just another example of that. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, and at this point, I'm still thinking, oh yeah, like these are just homages to the Shadow Moses incident and all that, and just like stuff that was just meta for the player. But I didn't realize how baked in to the core narrative it really was. But I thought it was really cool how he did like another torture scene as well. You know, I liked it.
You said it felt like a remake of Metal Gear Solid maybe like 20 times.
Yeah,
I think.
I think
pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was in the first episode. I think I made sure we covered it slightly last week also, but it's well documented that you picked up on that.
God damn it. Shit. Yeah, but shout out to the torture scene. Very, very, again, of course, you know, Jack kind of lobbed it up to me, but the very clever camera work on hiding Raiden's meat, if you will, you know, very, very clever, you know.
The can and the straw.
Yeah. Omar's like, hey, go back to the restraints or whatever. Yeah, clever stuff. Clever.
So this is where we get a big dump about Raiden's backstory. If we want, I can just run through the dump we get here, and then we can break it apart.
Yeah, run through it, please.
Okay. So we kick off. Ocelot and Solidus are like, hey, who is this guy? We ran a background check. Loved this quote. He's a non-existent man from a non-existent organization. Jack the Ripper has a history with Solidus. Solidus, now he's got his Doc Ock arms. He's Raiden's father figure. He calls him son. So it's revealed that Raiden was brought in as a child soldier, into Ocelot's military without a nation. And they fought in the Liberian Civil War, I believe. And that's basically why Raiden was chosen for the mission. He has that history of being a child soldier. He says at some point throughout the rest of this game, I was 6 when I held my first AK. he's been a killer since he could survive and like think. Really, he was a child soldier, and because of that, because of his record kill count in Solidus's militia, eventually he was granted access to the United States to escape that life, but was also brought into the U.S. government and then positioned to be a member of some version of Foxhound, and then we get to here. So he does have the credits to warrant being in this situation. We talked a lot about this, I think, in our Lost episode of like why Raiden, why this guy, why this 26-year-old who just has experience in VR, he can follow up Solid Snake. Really, this is why. So, Jack, hearing them go in, hearing them call him Jack the Ripper, what's it like seeing the idea of child soldiers being brought into Metal Gear?
That's quite the question, Christian. I don't really know how to answer that.
Well, what are your thoughts?
Because that's
Why
a
do
big
we
takeaway,
revere the
right?
Big D? Yeah, I mean, that topic, I suppose, being inserted into Metal Gear is something I guess I'm not really surprised at.
Mm-hmm.
Since they really go into the idea of like military-industrial complex and stuff like that, and of course that's the byproduct elsewhere in the world. So, yeah, I guess I'm not super surprised, but coming off of this reveal for Raiden, that is incredibly surprising. Like the first time going through it, obviously, you get the sense that you don't really know everything about Raiden's past, and of course, this has just been very repressed by him. And it seems like he doesn't even want to. Of course, he doesn't want to, but he seems like he doesn't like connect with that. Like, it seems like that was from like another life ago. Because his personality is like very. You get the sense like when you first play this game, he's very green and naive and all that. But of course, realistically, he's this experienced soldier since childhood. So it's interesting that those emotions associated with that were repressed as well. And it seems that he's remained childlike despite all of the atrocities that he's experienced.
Yeah, and we explored a little more after Solidus leaves because Rosemary calls him, and we get a bit more insight into their relationship. Omar, was there any highlights with Rosemary here that stood out to you? Like, there were some noteworthy quotes, like they put gunpowder in the food to keep us drugged.
The hallucinogenic
Hollywood
and stuff.
Watching Hollywood movies to do image training on how to kill.
Yeah. I know some theories, or I have some theories about what this call may mean. Like, maybe it's about, like, gamers playing games. And you're one of them.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't really know. I probably shouldn't say too much about it yet, but I do love when I love the performances of both Rose and Raiden during this, where Rose is just like hysterical and Raiden can't hold. Like, I'm afraid of the night. I think is one of my favorite line reads in this. If I can talk about voice acting a little bit more, I wanted to mention Solidus's voice acting is one of my favorites too. He sounds like he's doing theater. I really love it. He's like, but Ocelot, I know this man. Like, I don't know. It's great. But yeah.
And I'm with you. I think framing a lot, like Raiden's dealing with this, because obviously Solidus brings on all those memories, but having him deal with this with Rose when the entire game we learned that like him and Rose don't really go to each other for comfort or like dealing with things, and then immediately we have to do this. It's just very, like, I think what you said, the performances really stand out. It's very raw and like we do get the payoff for why he doesn't sleep, you know, like you said, I'm afraid of the night because I just see these images. So I really love this that back and forth there. But Kevin, getting all these payoffs, getting all this insight into Raiden's character and Solidus and all this. What's running through your mind in this torture sequence while we're here and learning about these things? What did you think?
I did think a lot about like his blank bedroom, right? And now I'll say, okay, like, I guess that makes sense. Like if you were just trained as a killer in a child army, I doubt you have like any, like salient like interests or hobbies or likes or anything like that, So it added to that. The gunpowder thing I thought was like a choice, very interesting. Like, all right, that's just another level and layer of crazy. But yeah, like I don't know, like I didn't exactly know where they were gonna take Raiden in terms of like exploring a backstory. I thought it would have been kind of cool if we just never knew, low key. Like I thought that'd be kind of interesting if they're just Raiden. Yeah, he is in this like Foxhound-esque type of like not, I guess, program, and we don't know a lot about his background. Like I thought that would have been cool, but hearing all this backstory and how Solidus is essentially like his godfather, I think is what it says in the game, but and all that he does directly towards him as well. It was interesting. It was definitely interesting. And while like I did think of like the correlation to how some people say that like playing games cause you to be extra violent or whatever and all that, I thought it was interesting how they brought up the movie thing instead, not that I agree with that either. Like that's also dumb, but I just thought it was interesting, overall. Just a backstory that I did not think that he would have, definitely not.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, and again, we will get to the gamer aspect of it because that is a big portion of this ending. But we talked about it like week 1, the reliance on VR and how Snake is like. I said like in an episode like, oh, Snake hates gamers. He doesn't trust VR. He doesn't think it's good enough. Not the real thing, but. Raiden's competence was cited up to this point as being VR training, and then it's like, oh no, actually it was this thing. It was because he was indoctrinated into this lifestyle at age 5, 6, the age when someone could pick up a controller, right? Like, I think there's a lot going on there that Kojima's clearly trying to say, but any other comments about the revelations we get here before we get into the escape? Because that's, I think, really when we get into the deep 4D chess element of this game.
Yeah, let's get into the 4D chess.
Okay. Let's just do it, man.
So, Olga breaks him out. Naked Raiden. You do any cartwheels?
Of course.
Yeah.
I think I did.
Yeah. Fun animation.
That thing's not going anywhere.
No.
They had that on lock.
Yeah. They had it on lock, yo. Yep. Yeah.
I was so convinced you could see his ball sack during this.
I thought
you could too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did anyone see it today?
I feel like I saw a pixel that looked kind of suspicious. You know what I'm saying?
There's something.
Yeah.
The first thing I did was I thought they were gonna do like a Simpsons movie thing where if you guys ever saw that movie, they like hide Bart Simpson's junk very well, and at the very end they just expose it, and that was hilarious for a 10-year-old. But
it's serious now. Go back.
It's true
for a 10-year-old.
I thought they were gonna do a similar thing, so I immediately went into first person and looked down because I thought like maybe that would be the one where you could see it, but no.
Yeah.
That's smart.
They had that thing on lock.
Mm-hmm.
No one's seeing that. Mm-hmm. Or is it a Kyle XY situation and nothing's there?
Maybe.
Of course, that's Kyle XY with the belly button. Of course, Kyle XY, everyone. The seminal 2000 show.
Don't worry, I remember.
Yeah, I remember too.
I know. Have nothing. I got no recollection. I got no idea what you're talking about. But
Kyle XY was one of those ABC Family shows that you knew exactly what was happening because all the commercials told you exactly what was happening, and you didn't need to watch it.
A lot of ads at the mall too.
Yeah, I remember that. Christian, I remember that big one.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're
Wait.
talking about.
I want to see if I even remember this in the depths of my memory. Kyle X or Y?
All I
He
know
didn't have a
is had
belly button.
He's an alien. Was that it? Was he an alien?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh shit! I do remember this. Yeah, this was weird as fuck. Yeah, no, I never watched this because I just thought it looked weird as shit.
Yeah.
No.
Never saw
Oh
it.
yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
So, once we go ahead, Omar.
I was gonna say, speaking of like trying to trigger like or look at your balls in the first person. Apparently, I just read this up like last night. If you look at first person mode at Emma for like more than 5 seconds, Rose will call you.
Really?
And she'll be
That is
jealous.
hilarious.
Oh my god.
Man, they write woman phenomenally in this game.
Yo, 10 out of 10 writing.
Uh,
10 out of 10.
Not even the worst.
Yeah.
I know, yeah.
So, oh wait, is this the Rose call? Is this where it ends? Where like Ryan's like, I know you want to get married, but I just can't. And then she's like, oh, but your baby, and then it cuts out. Is that here?
I think that's in the hallway
Okay,
when you
okay.
meet up with Snake again, I think.
You never-
Yeah.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
Because when she says
Yeah.
that, there's like a voice change, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
that's the end.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it was like static, like cutting out or something. But yeah.
It's
Well-
after all the Campbell stuff. I
Okay.
believe.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So
Yeah.
we get in the hallway, trying to figure out what's up, and we get a coda call, and we get another and another and another. How do we want to tackle this? Do we got anybody got highlights? Anybody got favorites?
I think I need to lead here, guys.
Yes,
Let me
please
just-
do. Please do.
Let me
Yes.
just take this by the horns, and just okay. Very confused, right? So I was trying to think like Kojima, okay, but what they were asking me to do, I was like, there's no fucking way that's what I actually have to do, right? Like there's no do you really have to turn off your console? We were able to do it without doing such thing, right? And obviously, as you know, I'm playing on PS now. So I guess disconnecting from the game, you're okay, like the one individual PS3 on the server rack, I guess would in theory turn off, right? But I wasn't sure of the logistics of like, would that even work? Right? Like, is that what I'm really supposed to do? So it was at, oh wait, I'm trying to remember, because I think there was something beforehand where it was like, wait, is Colonel an AI like this entire time? Like, is he just not even? There was something before this point that made me question that. I forgot what it was.
It's the very first call, right? He's like, Raiden, you have no sneaking suit, so you won't be able to enter the hanging mode. And then at some point, I don't know, he's sounding weird, and then Raiden goes, Colonel, I just remember I've never seen you before. I've never met you in person.
That, yeah.
And then Colonel goes, enough questions. We have Rosemary or something.
Yeah. That whole thing. Right. Yeah. And then I love how in this whole like glitching type of segment where Colonel is clearly just whacking out or whatever, he says MGS1 lines.
Yeah.
That I'm like, holy fuck, that is the coolest shit ever. I was like, yo, that is so fucking cool. So yeah, like you're in this area naked. He's telling you to turn off the console. You've been playing too long. I think eventually we just found a way to just keep going. Like,
Do you want an answer to if you should
yes,
turn off?
I definitely do.
Yeah, I think you just turn it off, and he won't even acknowledge that you did it. You just turn it off. I was in the chat trying to fuck with you as well, Christian as well. I think.
Yeah.
I remember.
Okay, so you actually don't have to turn it off, but
No.
like
No.
people in
so-
real life probably did turn it off.
Yes. Totally.
That is a reference to Metal Gear 1 on the MSX, where as Solid Snake you're like approaching the final part of Zanzibar, led by Big Boss. Big Boss will call you on the codec and be like, "Shut the game off," like turn the game off. So that's just coming back from that's just coming
Metal
back
Gear
from
1.
Metal Gear 1. Yeah.
I had.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's cool.
I mean, after this, I definitely need to find like a walkthrough story about Metal Gear. Is it just one Metal Gear?
There's two.
Or is there two?
So there's Metal Gear 1 and then Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake. So there's two.
Okay, yeah.
I read through the Wikipedia summaries. Those are pretty much good summaries to get you. They're very like stripped down Metal Gear games, so those are fairly decent to get the gist of it. But yeah, you could also just watch someone playing it and skip around through the gameplay and get to the codec conversations.
Okay.
Kevin, I don't think you mentioned that you did turn off your controller during this.
Yeah, I did do that. I was like, maybe turn off my controller. Fuck it, why not? Because like, I was thinking like, okay, he's saying that I've been playing too long, and then I was like, what if I just do nothing? What if I just like stop playing? That seemed to do nothing. Then I turned off the controller. That seemed to do nothing either. So yeah, it was I guess I got played a little bit there.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, because you have the hindsight of Metal Gear Solid 1, where there is, like, an actual hardware solution, like, they want you to be thinking that, right?
Yes.
Which I think is super fun. And it makes you question reality the way Raiden's starting to, which is very, very well implemented. But, is there any highlights? Like, there's some very iconic things here, like, Kevin, the other half of the one you said where the Colonel's like, oh, you're playing too long, and then it, like, hard cuts to Rosemary and like deadpan. She's like, you're gonna hurt your eyes if you're playing that close to the TV, and then it just goes away.
Yeah.
I don't know the like iconic Colonel one off the top of my head, but there's the one about like
the like purple something thing, right?
Is it like Harry Carey Rock or something like that?
61, yeah.
I Need Scissors,
like
61.
I Need Scissors, yeah. That thing.
Purple stuffed worm in Flapjaw space with the tuning fork does a raw blink on Harry Carey Rock. I Need Scissors, 61. That one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
My favorite might be maybe the first weird one, where it's like do you mind? Should I just read it?
Please do.
Yes.
Sure.
Please do.
Raiden, something happened to me last Thursday when I was driving home. I had a couple miles to go. I looked up and I saw a glowing orange object in the sky. To the east, it was moving very irregularly. Suddenly, there was intense light all around me, and when I came to, I was home. What do you think happened to me?
Like, what the fuck?
Which, Raiden, maybe my favorite line delivery in the game, so scared goes, huh? and that is actually the last time Raiden ever says anything to the Colonel during this whole sequence, is that one line, and he just listens to him the whole time. Like,
I thought when he was saying that specifically, and maybe a couple other ones, that he was making references to things. Like, I thought he was making references to movies, maybe, or like other pop fiction stuff. But I think he was just spazzing out.
Yeah, I also was wondering.
This is an alien story, I think. Just nothing super specific. It just, someone had too much fun. I mean, one person had too much fun in the writing room. But
he talks about like how in the past life he was some sort of North American bird.
In
one of those calls.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then we obviously get all those references to Metal Gear Solid 1, like Kevin said. Like,
super cool.
He says the one about, like, oh, you have to find President Baker after you blew up the hole in the wall or something. Like, it's the exact line. That was really cool.
Yeah, he also, like, brings up, like, quick, you have a sniper. Shoot sniper wolf. I was like, holy fuck, that's so fucking cool. Yeah, like, I thought that was, like, I thought that was, like, so neat. So neat, you know? I love the way this game treats MGS1. Like, I fucking love it.
What's the deal with the woman in the chair?
It's gonna bring that
I
up.
have so many
I was
Why?
really confused
Please,
about that.
does someone know? Please.
You mean the video footage of that girl on the top right?
Yeah.
So instead of the map, it's a woman on the top right, just like sitting in a beach chair. It looked like.
I
like
tried
a blue.
to Google it. People think it's Kojima's wife. I don't know if that's real, but it's crazy. And it's cool to see. Like, again, the game, whenever they put live action, it's always weird, but that was like a new way to do it. Do you mind if I read some more of these quotes later?
Sure. Go for it. Yeah.
I just love these things, man. Like, I think Metal Gear Solid 2 is like the greatest joke of all time in a lot of ways. And some of these lines are just so fucking funny to me. Like, where is this one? Actually, I am in really bad shape financially. I pay money to my ex-wife as part of our divorce settlement, among other bills. I just had no choice but to make you pay for a lunch the other day. I'm really sorry. Like,
yeah.
There's that. And what's the one where it was like, Raiden, I'm sorry to bring it up during the mission, but I saw a guy leaving Rosemary's room the other day, and it was like they were
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Intimate.
Yeah. There's also like Colonel going, I'm not home right now. Please leave a message after the beep. Beep. And I don't think you got that last night, Kevin, but I
don't think I did. Yeah.
Did you guys call the Colonel to get more?
A couple times.
Yeah, I did too.
I think I called him too. Yeah.
I wanted to get I Need Scissors, and I was trying, but it just didn't pop for me.
I never got that.
I got a bunch of the other ones though. And yeah, like
Did you get the sandwich one?
The which one?
The sandwich one.
I think...
like when he's eating. It's literally Colonel going munch munch. Raiden, I'm eating right now.
No. Oh man.
They're all scary, dude. They're all so scary.
So unsettling. Yeah, so weird. I wish. I mean, like, I don't know, but I hope there's like footage of them recording these lines. You know, like in the booth, because I bet they had fucking so much fun doing that. Yeah.
I don't know if Christian was trying to bait me the other weeks, but like you were mentioning, like Omar, it sounds like there's a voice max that comes in during Colonel lines. Sometimes he sounds different.
Yeah, I was trying to get
you. Yeah, you were trying to get me.
Yeah,
because like the whole entire game, Colonel sounds fucking weird sometimes. Like they just have two different line reads, or he sounds more dead than he does in Metal Gear Solid 1, I feel like.
Yeah, out the gate, he sounds very different from 1. Like, it sounds like he's less into it. Like, clearly intentionally, right? But...
Right.
Oh, shit.
And, Jack, I'm wondering if you were, like, picking up on that, too. Like, I didn't want to bring it up too much in the early weeks, because I didn't want to, like, tip Kevin off, but...
Yeah. I think, like... within the story, you can connect those dots. But I think more practically, it's very possible that it was one of those situations where it's like, all right, we need you to redo this line reading, and it's going to be you talking about the controls, so you don't have to sound that enthusiastic about it. But I think, there's probably a big possibility that because of how his character undergoes, or what his character becomes, that probably played into it.
So we do have a Campbell conspiracy. It was what's the beef? Like why isn't Campbell like addressing Solid Snake, you know, in like any like meaningful way that he would if it was actually him? And then Meryl question mark. I forgot where the Meryl thing comes in. Meryl does come in a little bit towards this end half of the game that I don't know what it really means. So I guess we can close this case. You know, it wasn't Campbell. It was an AI.
Yeah, and I mean, more directly, the reason there's beef is because the AI that's creating Campbell for Raiden to see is the AI of GW. And GW and the Patriots who controlled GW, they didn't want Snake there. And that's why that AI is hostile towards like Snake. It's like, no, screw him. He's not part of the simulation. No, he's not.
Yeah. Because now when he says another, oh my fucking god!
So it's
now when he says
AI,
this line, he's not even talking about Raiden's training, which Raiden thinks he's talking about the training, right? But he's talking about this actual simulation. Jesus, bro, that's crazy.
I think they also said that like the Colonel, the representation of the Colonel is the AI combined with Raiden's like expectations. Like they tap into a part of his brain, and they because Raiden was so familiar with the events of Shadow Moses, I think that's the reason why he like interprets the AI as the Colonel. Also, I'm not sure if we get actual Rosemary at all throughout the codec conversations, but I think some of the back and forth with Rosemary, whether she's part of the AI or let's assume that she's part of the AI. I think the conversations we get with her are basically Raiden talking to like his interpretation of Rosemary and having conversations with her, playing out in his subconscious essentially. But I also don't know if that's her or not.
No, I think there's a very specific part where you don't get real Rosemary anymore, and it's during that baby conversation, right? Where I think she's like, Jack, I'm pregnant. And I believe that's when they shift out real Rosemary for AI Rosemary, I believe.
Okay. Yeah.
Or did we get her at all?
That's what I'm saying. Like, is this game even real? I don't know.
I think my big question that I'm still trying to like piece together an answer of is like, what compelled Raiden to show up here? Was like GW reaching out to Raiden in Manhattan saying like, hey, you got a mission objective, and then it was like the AI creating the fake kernel and he's like, hey, this is your next mission? Or was it like what did somebody actually send him there? Because Rosemary technically is an analyst still, and she exists, and they have a history, and she's been monitoring him. But like, I know it's like to put him through the simulation, but was that the Patriots' choice? Because
No, is the Patriots sending? I mean, like, are you asking like what was his job beforehand?
No, because I know he was like an operative, right? He's like he has training. He went through the VR stuff, but this whole time he's been doing a thing, and then all of a sudden he gets called into here by an imaginary colonel. Like, was it like GW reached out representing themselves as colonel, saying, hey, your next mission is to go here and do this?
It might have not been like specifically like the AI colonel reaching out. It might have been like, you know, he just got Patriots dropped him a file on his desk or something.
Okay.
But I don't know.
I think at some point in the game they mentioned that like after he was a child soldier, he was like folded into the United States, and then he thought he was in Foxhound. Right. So I think the implication was that the Patriots were like manipulating him to believe that's what he was doing.
But he was still working with real people as an organization. He just didn't know, because like him and Rosemary were still like really together in real life, because she was monitoring him for the Patriots, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if he ever worked with a real organization, like with actual people.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was. Another moment of prescience was maybe he was just doing this all remotely.
Yeah.
Because he said he never saw Colonel, so who knows? He could have just been taking orders from a shadow organization.
Right, and I get why he's here. I just was hazy on like the incentive, like the actual mission of like that got sent to him of like, hey, this is your next thing you're doing.
I mean, there's a facility he works at because he met Rosemary there, right?
Well,
like,
yeah,
or yeah, no, they met at that thing, and then they
found out they worked together. Yeah. So, but speaking of that, Omar, I think this is the one you were talking about. Oh yeah, okay, I must have forgot this because I wrote this down. Rosemary calls and says that the day they met was orchestrated by the Patriots.
Yeah.
And that's when we get the pregnant line. That's when the transition happens.
Yeah.
So.
No, I'm a firm believer that was really Rosemary during the game. And just now it isn't. But, yeah.
All right, so after that mumbo jumbo with Colonel, we get back with Snake. We get, again, another interaction via codec. And he's like, hey, why didn't you tell me Olga was the ninja? Once again, Snake's like, you didn't ask.
I also love the way they reveal Snake in his iconic suit again. You know, it's my boy. Hell yeah! And I was shocked that we didn't play as him on this second half of the game. Honestly, like in this last lag, I thought they were gonna let us play him, you know, again, but we did not.
Yeah.
Do you know why Raiden sneezes when he sees Snake?
I think it's just because he's cold, because he's naked.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Why? Did you have a theory?
No, I just... Because like, he's been cold the whole time, but then when he sees Snake, then he goes, achoo!
Yeah, I think it's just because it comes right after Snake being like, walking around here naked this whole time, and then he's like, A chew. Yeah, I should put clothes on. I think.
I see it. Yeah.
But we get the sword here. So.
Hell yeah.
Dope sword.
What do we think about the sword?
I didn't realize, but eventually, well, I didn't realize until I did.
Yeah.
If you hit square, you can turn that into a non-lethal sword.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think I realized that in my first playthrough, like back in like 2014. But yeah, I was like, well, I assume I'm going to have to use this, and I'm trying not to kill people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you hit square, and then he flips it so it's like the butt of the sword, so you just bonk people on the head instead of killing them.
That's fun.
Yeah, this episode I kind of gave up on the no kill thing.
Me too.
It was when I got to the sniper perch, and I was like, oh, I just have the PSG one, so.
Oh, true. Yeah, you didn't get the trank one.
Yeah, I was like, all right, it was real, but you know. Yeah.
I wanted to go non-lethal to the end because this is very close to the ending. But the sword got me. I was like, I have to use the sword, and I didn't know you could switch it. So I do have a kill count by the end, but
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to open up another conspiracy. So
opening one, okay.
Another one. Let's go. I'm gonna call this one the katana or sword. I'm gonna call it katana because katanas are cooler.
Yeah, you have sword, I think.
Is it sword?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll do sword
We'll call
conspiracy, okay.
Yeah, we'll call it the katana.
So of course, as you all know, my my knowledge of MGS as a whole is very, very limited, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I do know is that there is a character in one Metal Gear Rising Revengeance that does have a sword as well. Okay. I was thinking that it was going to be some sort of, I mean, there's a few people here on the table. So we have 3 people it could be now. Okay. We got Olga, Cyborg, right? Maybe some sort of tale about that, right? We have oh my god, what's his name?
Frank.
There's another name that
Frank
I know
Yeager.
more.
Gray Fox.
Gray Fox. Oh, sorry, I was thinking of Gray Fox. Gray Fox / Frank Yeager. Okay, could be him. I guess now it could be our boy Raiden. So we're gonna pay a little bit of attention here.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt it's Gray
Kevin.
Fox.
Or Kevin. Could it be an entirely new character?
You know what? You're right.
There's
/
a
4.
new
You're right.
every game so far. So
It
I
could
feel
be
like new 2.
could definitely be a new character. Absolutely. So we're gonna open up that investigation. We'll keep an eye on it. So that's about it.
What's your private eye organization called? I think we should refer to your organization by its rightful name.
Interesting.
Diaz Deduction.
DS deduction. Okay, I kind of like that. Let me think about. I'll have a name either at the end of this or next week. Let's just keep it unnamed for now. Yeah, I think that's it. Because I'm looking through. There's one that I don't know if I'm gonna get an answer for. Wait, or do I have an answer for that? Both calls were interrupted. Snake / Otakon and Colonel and Jack. What is that about? I don't know. Carry on. Sorry to interrupt.
So, sword controls. How do we because again, we're throwing in a major new mechanic for the end of this game. Sometimes a lot of games do that, and then it does not deliver. But I really love how the sword feels, and I don't love the spin because I feel like it's a little wonky sometimes trying to get it to connect and like actually register. But everything else, like the stab, the slashes, love it so much.
It works very well.
Mm-hmm.
It works very, very well. I like it a lot.
So I got skate controls in this thing.
Surprisingly fluid for a game that is like kind of tanky with a lot of its gun combat.
Yeah, it's fine. Like what you said, it is pretty fluid. You can just kind of jump around, and the key with Raiden and the sword is to just spam that X button and just keep whacking people with that thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty fun, although it is obviously limited. But yeah, it's mostly good. I realize that even if you do have it set to non-lethal and you use the lunge, you'll just straight up stab someone's heart out. So can't use that if you're doing non-lethal playthroughs.
That is unfortunate.
I just like the way they animated the motion of him, like with the it looks beautiful. It looks very, very well done. I really like the way it looked, and of course how it felt when you're playing. You know, it felt really good. Looked really good. Very impressed.
So, when you're in that portion of the hallway training with the sword, I thought my game might have like glitched or something because it was taking a long time, and I was like, I tried all the doors like twice after I went through the standard motions, and I was like, what am I supposed to do? So then I just attacked Snake with the sword, and then he shot me, and then after that the door was ready to go. So
did you notice you went infinite ammo?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's great.
Infinite ammo.
So this leads into the next cutscene where we get the hallway, another hallway, going through a Snake, taking out these bad guys who also have swords now. I think that's fun. Which leads into the boss arena room where it's like a circle area. You're again fighting waves, and all of a sudden, mission failed. Or fission mailed, I should say.
Fission mailed.
Yeah.
Fission mailed.
Kevin, this get you?
A little bit, yeah. Like at first I was like, wait, like what did I do wrong? And then I saw it said fission mail. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And then I saw the gameplay was still going on.
Yeah.
In like the picture-in-picture over here on this side. So I was like, oh shit, like, okay, this is just I guess the game fucked with me. I don't know. Yeah. This is like it was approximately probably like 10 minutes before I got to this point where I was like, guys, like I'm kind of like in a state of just like disbelief at this point. Like I don't even know where we're going. You know, like I don't know what's going on. Like I mean, like I know what's going on, but like it's just a lot. Yeah, so at this point I was like, all right, just whatever they throw me, it is what it is. I don't know. Yeah.
Omar, what's it like seeing Fortune show up after this?
I like Fortune. I thought it was cool. I don't know.
Like,
can't remember what happened. He just walks in, right, and then
He gets screwed out of a boss fight.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking, because like I was a little underwhelmed with like her implementation at the ending. Her story stuff's cool, but like Kevin, I think like what you're saying, like you kind of thought you were surprised you didn't play a Snake here. Like, do you think it was a missed opportunity to not like have Raiden go up and then split? It's like, okay, now Snake is here and you fight Fortune, and then after that you see he gets knocked out and then cut to Raiden. Like, would you have liked that, do you think? Or
I think I would have liked that. Like, it just one little, even if it's just that boss fight, right? Let's just do one more boss fight. Let's just play as Snake just one more time. I think that would have been. I think I would have liked that a little bit more than what we got, than like pretty much having it off screen, right? And like maybe, you know, in this section you do literally have infinite ammo, right? And you're meant to just spray and spray until eventually like you just get subdued by Fortune or whatever. You know, like I think that would have been neat. Like I guess like in context it wouldn't have really been a boss fight, right? But I also think that would have been a really, really cool thing to do. Yeah, I almost prefer that. Yeah.
So has Snake ever lost a boss fight before in the series so far as we've played him?
I
can't think. Yeah, I feel like that's a trick they want to reserve just for like the Metal Gear fight.
Yeah.
At that point. And I also think, oh shit, sorry about that. I also think they don't want you to I sleep in sometimes. What can I say?
No, I just love it. I love it. I love it. I love it so much.
What was I talking about?
Like the gimmick of losing the fight.
Yeah. I think there's something about the way you play Metal Gear Solid 1 and you are badass in Snake, and I think Metal Gear Solid 2 doesn't want you to feel like that all the time. And if they did let you play as Snake, that's almost doing a disservice to the first game. In that one moment, like if you the player play as Snake, you're not going to lose. I think at this point,
right?
So I don't really know how you illustrate that. I think the game kind of goes in on that, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe they just struggled with figuring out how to do a Fortune boss fight in general. Like she takes one hit. Like
yeah, I think that was probably it, because even when we saw the Vamp boss fight, they teed up Vamp and Fortune, and it's like, oh man, how can you defeat these seemingly invulnerable enemies? And then Vamp was just like, you just shoot him a bunch, really. We don't really have anything special for this fucking dude. And then for Fortune, I think it probably would have been the same thing if there was that boss fight. It's like, oh, like 100 of your shots will miss, but one will hit, right? I think it probably would have been
Something
one of those
like
situations. So, yeah. So, honestly, I think they might have backed themselves into a corner and be like, well, I don't really know if we can do a boss fight with this thing, with Fortune. So, yeah. It was a little unfortunate, though, because I forgot that we didn't have a boss fight with her, and I was hoping for something unique. But, yeah, I guess we didn't get that.
You know what I thought of? What if you were just meant to, okay, like, what if you had infinite everything, and you're supposed to, like, just use everything, right? Like use, like, one of everything, right? And then, when you get to the chafe grenade, maybe that's where you get one shot on her, and, like, the boss fight ends, right? Because it would disable that thing that we know later on, like,
right.
You know, is what's blocking it's like a electromagnetic field that is what is really doing what Fortune does, but then it's not just that. I guess. Yeah. So, I think that could have been cool, but then it's like, well, yeah, no, I think that would have worked. I think that would have checked out. I think.
You're saying play a Snake again, though?
Yeah, like you're like playing as Snake, infinite everything. You use one like chafe grenade that like disables it temporarily. Then you get like one shot off, and then she, handcuffs you and does that whole thing.
Yeah. I feel like mechanically there would be a way around it, but for what the game's going, like right here, you're not supposed to win against Fortune. And I do think I see it well more saying of like, if you spend this whole game as this green guy, and then you get thrown in as Snake, and you're expecting to be a champion again, and then you lose, like it goes against kind of what the game's going for.
Right.
On like a thematic level. So I definitely see that. But I think you can make that fight work. It's just not what the game was going for.
Also, they just need to separate Snake and Raiden at the situation, so Raiden can just take on Metal Gear Race. Yeah. So like from a practical standpoint, that's why that was there.
Right.
That's why you didn't fight Fortune.
I mean, I feel like people have said this for years, but I think the game is really about not giving players what they want in a lot of cases. Not write off everything as an excuse like that, but they definitely want you to be impressed with Vamp and Fortune in the introduction of the game, and then I think the way those fights are kind of like whatever. I think there's something there, but I don't know.
Well, we get our big culmination moment. It's a Metal Gear Solid game, so clearly we should be fighting a Metal Gear, and they're like, you know what? Fight like 9 of them. Here is Metal Gear Ray, A, B, C, D, E, F, whatever.
Let's talk about a significantly better Metal Gear fight than Metal Gear Solid 1. Because I think this one was way more fun than Metal Gear Solid 1.
Yeah, it's funny because they present it in a way that you think it's going to be annoying, because you have to deal with like these laser attacks from 3 at the same time, and then they just keep replacing themselves. But at least on easy, it took me like probably 10 minutes to get through Metal Gear Ray after Ray after Ray, just like dodging their fire and then using the Stinger missiles. For the first 5, I was just going straight for the cockpit. I didn't realize that you could do the knees to weaken them and then spam it, but yeah.
I think it was just more satisfying. Like it was challenging. Like I did die a few times, but just learning, like what you said, I was also just going for the head, and then eventually learned that knees, head, shoulders, knees and toes. I just thought that was super satisfying, where if you could get in a good rhythm, you essentially don't even have to dodge their attacks. You just like go for the knee, go for the head, wait a little bit, go for the knee, go for the head. In the meantime, maybe also start shooting at people at the rays that were outside of the ring while that ray was taking damage. So yeah, I thought it was very fun.
Kevin, how do you feel about this one?
I think I just had like a very different experience because I was on very easy. I think dude, like the Metal Gears were like very weak. Like I would do one stinger and it'd be like a third of their health, you know.
Oh, wow.
So I probably was in that scenario for maybe a minute. Like it felt like very quick, and then I just got the next cutscene, you know, like so it was like, oh, okay, like I guess I wasn't intended to like really complete any type of like Metal Gear fight, you know, which a little, I guess a little bit let down, kinda, a little bit, because I don't think like the last fight is really that like great either, like mechanically, you know. So I think I'm still like left kind of like wanting like a little bit of a like. I appreciated the strategy behind the first Metal Gear, Metal Gear Rex fight. You know, like I still like appreciated that like strategy that you had to like learn and everything. But like with this, it felt like I never really had to like do anything like that. You know, and of course I'm playing on very easy, so like that's just what the hand I dealt myself, right? So that could also play a huge part into that feeling, but yeah, like for me, it was pretty much like a minute 30 tops.
Damn.
I was shooting stingers, and like that's it. It was very very quick. Yeah.
Omar, you also played on very easy?
Yeah, it was the same as Kevin. It took like a minute.
Was it
super quick?
Was it underwhelming?
Yeah, yes. Just as God intended.
Wait, so did you guys only fight like 3 Rays? Was it
I think
just
only
the 3
3
at the beginning?
I think 2 more spawned, and then like the cutscene just happened.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm not
Dude,
sure.
I had to defeat like 10 of these things.
Yeah, I had
Shit.
a good amount of them.
Damn. Damn, that's crazy. Yeah.
But yeah, it is a cool set piece, you know. And meanwhile, this whole time, Arsenal Gear is, you know, sailing off towards the coast. But there's one other thing I wanted to mention in this entire Arsenal section that I could not figure out. I don't know if you could do it here, but definitely when you first break out, if you pause, like to pull up the map, it's like some tortoise with like a city on its back. I know there's like some sort of mythology about that. Is that I didn't know what to make of that, but I was like, what the fuck is this? Like,
That's some Avatar: The Last Airbender stuff or Legend.
Yeah, it was also an Avatar, but like there is like a real world thing of like I forgot which religion it is. Honestly, I really forgot. So and like I don't want to say one and just like guess, but yeah, it's like there's like the world is on a turtle. That like is just moving slowly, like, and that's all prospect. Yes.
Like I think the comparison they're going for is how like Big Shell is built on Arsenal Gear, right? Like that's what that is. But it was very interesting seeing that instead of like a techno low poly map when I went pause.
Yeah, I almost wish we didn't see Arsenal after that. Like I wish that was the only glimpse at it.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. I never pulled up the map, so I didn't see what you're talking about. But like I guess I was kind of like, you know, having nods to how GW was meant to, you know, facilitate a bit of like control and like quote unquote like censorship of certain digital information overall, right? And like, I guess in like a really weird way, like is Kojima like talking about like, hey, like eventually, you know, later on into the new millennia, right? Like technology is going to more and more become like integrated into our daily lives. Where like if we don't have our phone for a day, we're like kind of fucked in like a lot of different ways. You know, not like end of the world, but like, you know, things are not going to go as smoothly. You know, a day when you don't have your phone. Yeah.
Right. So this is the longest cutscene of the game, I think, coming up. It's pretty beefy because including codec calls, as soon as we finish the Metal Gear fight, the next time we have control over Raiden is when we're fighting Solidus.
Yeah.
So, how would we like to discuss the reveal hour of this game?
Maybe talk about everything that happens within Arsenal up to Snake jumping off.
Sure.
have that as a discussion, and then we can talk about the big Solidus monologue and then the codec call.
Sure.
Because I feel like those two are pretty divorced.
I think that sounds good. Midway through the Metal Gear Ray fight, we get the Solid Snake simulation. That's what S3 is. Kevin's face, because
holy fuck.
that does not last too long, because as soon as we finish that fight, everybody shows up on the roof. We're all just standing there. We get Solidus, Raiden, Fortune, Snake, and then Ocelot. And we get Fortune's entire backstory, which is given through Ocelot's narration. Now, seeing Ocelot be this returning figure from the first game, who was in on everything, who was playing double agent with Liquid, and then shows up here, again playing double agent on Solidus, so he's like a triple agent at this point. Do you guys, for the ones repeating this, Jack and Omar, do you guys find this easy to follow? Because I had a better time keeping track of it than I did when I originally played this.
Yeah, definitely. I think it all makes a lot of sense if you just pay attention.
This is I'm always confused by Metal Gear. I don't think I can, as many times as I play through it, I don't think I'll ever fully really understand what's going on. I don't find this any more easy to understand, but like I get the idea with Ocelot is that he's kind of just manipulating several different organizations to just get what he wants. So you get the sense, especially with this game, it's like, does he really work for anybody? No, he's mostly just out for himself, and he's just sort of using these organizations as a pawn to get his own means.
Sure. I one thing that I do want to maybe clarify, he does say we a lot. Like, we made it so this happens, we did this. I took it, I don't know if I'm wrong about this, but I took it as a reveal that Ocelot is like with the Patriots.
Yeah, because he's not with the Lolly Lulelo. That's what Cyborg Ninja was, Olga. Do we know what that is?
I don't think so. Not at the moment. I don't think we know that. But Ocelot, it was acting on behalf of the Patriots to make sure that this entire situation didn't go down, because he allowed Solidus to do this entire thing so they could achieve the goal of replicating Snake through Raiden, because that was the main goal of the Patriots.
Right.
In the background, they wanted to gather enough data so they could replicate Snake, and Big Shell was that training exercise for Raiden to complete that journey so they could document that, reproduce it, and then like mass produce Solid Snakes.
Holy fuck.
So Ocelot being like working with the Patriots was able to use that influence to give Solidus the impression that his plan of taking Arsenal Gear to overthrow the Patriots could work. And through, again, Ocelot, Solidus was able to take control of Dead Cell, who once again was given technology, was Fortune specifically, from the Patriots, so that she could like believe that she was getting revenge and like having her powers, which she does have, but like this amplified it to make it away so she can never die. So it all comes back to Ocelot in a way that I think macro, it's like, okay, you can see these lines here, but when you get into the details of all of it, that's where it gets a little more hazy. Kevin is thinking very hard at the moment. I guess on a surface level, did you expect all this out of Ocelot when you played Metal Gear Solid 1?
I just didn't expect him to be like... I mean, granted, I'm only 2 games in. I don't know, but like, is he like the overarching, like, looming bad guy in this franchise? Like, I guess I see that no one wants to answer that,
Right.
obviously, but like, that's what I'm walking away with now, right? Like, I just didn't realize like he was that capable, because he kind of like felt just like a, like a, hey, you're good at twirling a pistol, cool, you have great aim, that's great, like, but you're a lot more capable than I thought that you were.
He was
That's
the first
why
boss fight. You would
Yeah,
expect that
and like he's the first
you
boss
expect
fight.
him not to be that. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I felt like that even like when he was first introduced into MGS2. I'm like, why do we even have more like why do we even have more of Ocelot?
Mhm.
Like I didn't really even but then there's like the post credit scene of MGS1 or audio,
Right.
but yeah, I don't know.
It was all his cover. He
Yeah.
was the first boss for a reason. You wouldn't suspect him.
What the fuck? But then it's like, okay, so S3, right? So do we want to cover the other S3 that might be this S3? I think this version of S3 that we get explained right here is the lie.
Yeah, we should wait a second, I think, until...
Okay, let's just not cover that yet.
That's in the next part, yeah.
Yeah,
But
so
I don't think we haven't talked about Liquid essentially using Ocelot as a venue for his knowledge about the Patriots, and now Liquid wants to just go off and murder the Patriots.
yeah. So, Omar, were you gonna say something?
Okay, I know what the Lalo is.
Right.
Is that revealed in Metal Gear Solid 2 or something else?
I don't think
I
it's
don't
here.
think it is.
Don't-
I don't think it's here.
Because I also remember, but I don't think it's this game.
I
Alright, some of the-
looked it up
Yeah.
because we just hear it so many times. And of course I got the answer and I was like, I don't think we got that here.
Yeah.
But there's just so much exposition in these games where I'm like, it could have been. But yeah, I don't think we've gotten that yet.
I see, okay. Yeah, I think some of that is my later knowledge is clouding my
Yeah.
judgment on
yeah.
some of this. Then.
Right.
Yeah.
So what I'm having a hard time grasping, right, is like the big shell incident,
Yes.
right? Like this whole entire thing that we just did. Is it even real?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like is it like tangibly real?
Mhm.
Like in terms of, I mean, like it has to be, because like Snake isn't fake, right? Like Snake is not, he's not a part of the simulation, right? So, but I do follow that, this incident was created so that it's meant to mirror Shadow Moses to be able to gather data to bring about another wave of Solid Snakes. This franchise is so fucking weird. Like I like that, to me checks out. Like that makes sense. I'm just having a hard time like simulation. Like are we talking like VR or like almost like a play, like a reenactment? Like everyone here, but does everyone here even fucking know that? Like it's wild to me. Like, how does that even make sense?
No, wait, Christian, do you want to do this or?
I was just gonna say, and I'd like to hear what you have to say about this also, Omar. But I was gonna say, I think it's just a case of the word simulation having a different connotation in 2021. Because like a training simulation could still be, hey, it's a mission that takes place in a bubble that has like whoever's overseeing it can like cut it at a second's notice. Like the stakes aren't fully there, right? Like it's different where there's a VR simulation of like, hey, you're there and everything's fake, but it's like I don't know, if you're going through like you remember in like COD you had like the weapons course training you could do, like all that stuff is there, it's real things, but that is a simulation of combat because it's like trying to prepare you for the real thing. Everything's here. It's like physically, you can touch Big Shell, but it's an experiment that's being done in a bubble, essentially. I think.
Wow. Damn.
I mean, they talked about people like fulfilling roles.
Yeah.
At this point,
Mm-hmm.
so like, Raiden was the snake role. Dead Cell was Foxhound. They filled those roles.
Mm-hmm.
There was a president in this one. There's a president in Metal Gear Solid 1. He had to die. He said. I think he essentially said, like, I have to fulfill my role now, and he's like, now you have to kill me.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that part of the simulation of people actually fulfilling their duties.
Because the president knew that because he was in on what was going on with the Patriots. He did the snooping, and he's like, he changed his mind. He's like, okay, well, this is what I have to do in their plan. So, but Omar, what were you gonna respond to Kevin about his simulation question?
I think you guys kind of got it. It's just like Big Shell really does crash into Manhattan, right? Like,
yeah.
But then, like that, because it's like people just start walking like everything's fine.
Oh yeah,
right.
Oh yeah,
and it's like, what the fuck does that even fucking mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's there.
But what is is anyone gonna react? Is anyone gonna say no? Okay, all right.
We can wait. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Like, yo, okay.
They create context, Kevin.
Now I want to know, like, okay, so like in terms of Big Shell being, I guess simulation is a hard word for me to like use for this. Like let's just call it like a play. Let's call it an act.
Training exercise.
Training exercise.
Reenactment.
Yeah, reenactment. Yeah. Are all the guards there? Like, do they think it's real?
No, barely anyone knows that it's not real. I think.
Yeah.
Right, except for the people at the top. Like, Ocelot knows. Solidus kind of knows, right? He knows something, or he has an interpretation of it. I think he knows.
I don't think he knows.
No, you're right.
Because he still thinks he's in control, but it's really Ocelot.
Right. But like Dead Cell, I don't think any of the Dead Cell members knew.
They don't know.
Fat Man definitely didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit! Yeah. Is that why Ocelot killed that one random guard?
Ames?
No. The one for the way first. Yeah, the one like on the tanker.
I don't think that was a part.
I don't know if that really means something like as deep as it is, but like, could it have been like, oh, like he was gonna tell somebody, and then like the whole facade would have just been thrown down by this one fucking guard that, you know, like wasn't going to allow Snake to keep going. You know,
are you talking about Gerlukovich, the colonel, the Russian colonel in charge of the army?
No,
Kevin, I remember you talking about this guard thing. I still haven't seen it. I don't think I saw it in my playthrough. Right? You said
I swear to God, I saw it.
A guard protected Snake, right? Or didn't blow Snake's cover?
It was in the hallway on the tanker where you gotta just mow down everyone, right?
Oh,
after you're done mowing everyone down, you go through a door and there's a guard that like sees Snake and follows Snake for a little bit, and then is looking in through the door where Snake is walking. Snake just keeps on walking. He seemingly like is kind of just like observing and maybe trying to like understand like who this guy is or whatever. And then Ocelot pulls up and just, it's a wrap. Like just blows his brains out. You know. I
think it might have been just that soldier locking that door so Snake couldn't escape.
Wasn't it also like Ocelot isn't supposed to be on the tanker, right? Like he was providing. Maybe like he was on a phone call, but I don't think he was supposed to show up.
I'm gonna pull up the playthrough because am I tripping?
I do know what you're talking about, Kevin, but I don't think it was.
That situation of him like shooting that Russian guard was just that instance of him turning coat essentially. Yeah. For the first time on the tanker.
Yeah.
Okay, that would make a little bit of sense.
If you were talking about Gerlukovich, I assume like Gerlukovich said he wanted to, you know, rebuild Russia, and then Ocelot was like, nah, I need your army for this Big Shell thing. So he's like, nah, I'm just going to kill you. Your daughter's not going to know. She's just going to know that I'm your buddy, and then she'll help me as like a debt. But
Did we talk about the Marine guy there, Dolph Jackson, being Fortune's dad?
I didn't know that.
Okay.
I was confused.
I assumed
Yeah,
because
that's-
they both had like a military background,
Sure.
and she said like you murdered my father, and I was like, well, that's the only other major character of note in that scene, so I would have. to
Ocelot can't stop killing dads for some reason. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's also something weird with Fortune, like where she has a husband who is the leader of Dead Cell, right?
That wasn't Stillman though?
No, I don't think so. He's not in the game, but I don't know. I also read something. I don't. This might be wrong, but I think Fortune's dad might have been implied to be Vamp's boyfriend at one point.
I do know that canonically Vamp is bi.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
But I don't know if they touch on it. I didn't see any evidence of it in the game, so I don't know. If
I
that's...
didn't either. I just know it's like on the internet, and like apparently, I think there's like maybe a codec call or something about it. I don't know if you guys
Maybe.
got that. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't get anything.
Okay,
But
I'll have to figure that out.
Maybe
Okay,
that's
yeah.
people just
Okay.
shipping those two.
That's a weird ship. I feel like because like they
I
never
know, that's
interacted.
just-
Yeah.
That I was like so taken aback by that. I was like, because they're separated by 2 years.
yeah.
And,
So I was
and
like, huh.
Vamp is kind of, I don't know, seems a little comfortable with Fortune, I feel like.
Yeah.
Mm.
Where if he did date her dad, I think there's a weird dynamic there.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Okay, yeah. So maybe he was just locking the door so that Snake couldn't escape, I guess. Ocelot definitely shoots his homie.
Right, yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that's-
right in the
yeah.
face.
Okay. Interesting.
So, I really like how Ocelot's like moment comes up when he's on top of Arsenal, and like he does this big reveal by like shooting Fortune, and it's like, oh shit, he could do it. Like,
That is cool.
I think that specific moment is very like showy of what's actually going on, because it's like, oh, okay, now it makes sense. Now this is why he was like watching Raiden. This is why he's kind of been low key most of the game. This is why he's still here. But I do really love Ocelot finally getting to like step into the sun and reveal everything that's going on, because I know it is a lot of exposition, but I'm thoroughly entertained this entire time watching him explain how everything's working. It's like, you don't know fucking anything. It's like, I'm the one who's making this happen. Like, I really love that. But
Me too.
Yeah. Sorry, go for it, Omar.
No, I was gonna say it's like the Metal Gear payoff. I feel like you play the game for so long, and then you get this beautiful 2 to 3 hours of nonsense, and I love it. I love it. Sorry, Jack, you go ahead.
That's like, yeah, like what you're saying. Like that's sort of the trend we've seen so far with these two games, and like what you said, Christian. There's like a ton. There's always a ton of exposition in Metal Gear. That's just like the fact of life, and there's a lot of stuff that's very like on the nose, and it's very like, it was me the whole time, and that's fine, because especially with Metal Gear Solid 2 compared to the first one, I remember at the end of that game I was like almost exhausted by all the exposition, but I think the fact that they do it with having all of these characters here and no one really knowing what the hell is going on, I just think that really sells it. And yeah, it's super interesting, even though by the end of this I'm like, what the hell just happened?
sure.
I think it's cool in this one too, because I don't think they tell you everything, like not intentionally. There's a lot of gaps for you to fill in, which I think is really fun. It stays in your mind, I think, this game.
Definitely, yeah.
Totally.
Now, what we do get to take away out of this is that, as I mentioned before, I think towards the end of this, it's revealed that, like, or maybe it might have been that gap, Omar, that you're talking about, of, like, Ocelot is working with some situation. Like, he has knowledge of the Patriots, and that's why when we get the reveal of Kevin's theory about Liquid
Let's go.
coming true.
I'd love to see it. Yeah.
I'm
How is
sorry.
that even real? Like, how is that even real?
It makes zero sense, but honestly, Kevin, I never liked that aspect of Metal Gear Solid 2. But since you figured it out on episode 1, I have to believe that it's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
like
I don't even know. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I was like 95% joking You know, like I was just trying to be, hey, like let's just think of like a really dumb fucking thing, like to explain this arm and shit. You know, I don't know, man. But then,
well, like, isn't that the implication when you first see that happen?
Maybe.
Well, I mean, like when what happens, like it like does a thing, whatever, and he bites it and shit, and then like his accent changes to a British accent. So I'm like, oh, okay, like it's just taking over his body,
right.
Which I'm like, all right, whatever, fuck it, like sure, that's gonna happen, and then it does. And it's like,
it's definitely implied, but I just feel like even that is so ridiculous. I just couldn't roll with it when I first played it. It's like, what? Like,
yeah, because
it has to be something else. Like, no, it's the fucking arm.
We were absolutely lying to you, Kevin, but I do think the reasoning we came up with made sense, right? Like, because in the first game,
yeah,
Ocelot and Liquid both like fool Snake left and right. So like throwing like Snake, as cool and as like legendary as he is, he can get thrown off pretty easily. So like I doing that again in the first hour of the second game, I think is not out of the question, right?
I was just doubling down to be funny about it. Like I don't know, like I was just doubling down. Hey, fuck it. Like let's just. I said it. Let's just write it down on the conspiracy notes, and lo and behold, there we go. Do we get an answer to why Pliskin / Snake said like Semper Fi and lies about going onto the base?
He's a bad SEAL. He just doesn't know what to say. I think he just has too much movie knowledge. I don't know.
Oh, because he was making. Oh, because he was. Oh, because
yeah, he was trying to blend in.
Yeah. Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay.
Are we at the point where they talk about the true intentions of the tanker mission yet? Or
I think that's here because we get the Liquid introduction. Or wait, Ocelot says that, right? Ocelot's like, "Hey, we did this." Is it Ocelot who reveals that?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's Ocelot.
Okay. So what about the true intentions, Omar? What do you want to talk about?
No, I just think it's cool. It's like Solid Snake was a hero after Shadow Moses, public information, and then they stage, who was it, the Patriots stage the tanker op to get nasty photos of him looking like a terrorist, right? And I don't know, I think it's cool that not only was Big Shell a simulation, also tanker was too. And I think Ocelot has this point here too that I'm still not sure on, where is this whole thing about Snake not supposed to be, he shouldn't be here on the plant, right? On Big Shell. And Ocelot goes, I wonder who sent for you, which I wonder who brought Snake on there. Apparently one of the biggest contributors to Snake and Ocelot's philanthropy is kind of revealed here at some point, but I don't want to say. A lot of questions came to mind, I guess.
Right,
during this.
Earlier in the game, they credit EE being the code name that gives them the tip, right? And also, Otakon's like, I'm just trusting this because I think it's my sister, and that's it.
Right.
So when he says, "I wonder who called for you," like we never really get an answer from Emma if it was actually her, because she's kind of surprised that Otakon's there.
Well, that might have been. Because I think the Patriots probably called for Snake on the tanker, right?
Yes.
But I think that I wonder who called for you now is for the plant.
Right. So did Emma not tip off about the plant? Or was it just the tanker?
But then how did Emma even get there?
I think you're right. She might have tipped off about the plant. But was that Emma who tipped off?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Like, was it actually her? Because like she seemed surprised when she saw Otakon.
Right.
Was it somebody else using EE?
I don't know if she's surprised, but just like caught off guard that she had to be talking with him at that moment.
Sure. Well,
I think she knows that she sent for him, right? Or
unless it wasn't her.
But
I assume
almost
that
acknowledge
she
that
sent it.
She kind of like, she does kind of mention that. Oh, I don't know.
Jack, what were you saying?
I would have assumed that she sent them there. Because I'm wondering, like, because Snake was not supposed to be there, right? So the Patriots obviously didn't send him there.
Right.
But is that the only reason Snake and Ocelot are there then? Is because of that one EE tip?
I mean, Otakon reasons with it of being like, it's because I think it's my sister, right? That's why.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
I know.
Is there future spoilers that you're trying to
No,
sort through right
there-
now, or what?
No, there aren't future spoilers. I guess I'm just like, because I know Otakon does say like, this is personal for me too, because I think my sister's here.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm just wondering if Snake and Otakon just stumbled on this huge plot because of one tip from Otakon's sister.
But didn't Snake have like another reason to why he was there that was not EE related? You know, like remember when like I don't know, Snake goes like, "Hey, you have your orders." Oh wait, no. Was he talking to Raiden at that point?
I don't know if it's fully transparent. I think there might be reason to believe that, you know, in this 2-year gap, Snake and Otakon have still been working, just much more secretive. And that's why the Patriots, through the Colonel and everybody else, are so thrown off about Snake being there and painting him as a terrorist again, because that's what Colonel refers to him as, you know, the AI Colonel, because they don't want him there, right? Like, that's out of the Patriots' control. And I don't know if they knew he was alive in those 2 years, because they seem to have fooled most of the people, you know, that it wasn't actually, or Snake actually died. So I think that might just be a hole that the Patriots have. So like maybe Otakon or Ocelot is looking at it of like, well, if you're here, it must have been somebody that told you, right? Like, because maybe he just thinks the Patriots are too good, but they've already been fooled before.
It almost seems like that was something. Maybe because they thought Snake was dead.
Yeah.
But like, it almost seems like something that they should have prepared for, knowing that because they brought Emma into it, right? Like, it almost seems like a possibility they should have figured out.
Sure.
But I don't know. I guess I always kind of figured in my mind there was another thing that Snake was brought here or sent here for, but I don't know.
I do love the brothers delivery though. I because you know, like Liquid just screaming brother is iconic. So like because there's three of them now, he just adds an S. I just think that's very fun, and that's really what gives us the conclusion of the scene. As Jack said earlier, Liquid was waiting to take over fully because he needed the right moment, and Ocelot knows all this stuff about the Patriots. He knows where they are, presumably because he's working with them, and few people can actually fully know stuff about the Patriots. So we get brothers that can be one big boss and one Snake, and then he leaves. So
okay, I added another wrinkle to this lovely the first conspiracy, right?
Yes.
Lovely, you know, big boss feature pass. Which one is it? I don't know. Holy fuck! Does Snake become big boss? Damn, that's an interesting that's an interesting wrinkle right there. That's an interesting wrinkle.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I like that little wrinkle right there. Okay. Interesting. Because why would you say there can only be one Big Boss and Snake?
I mean,
if Big Boss is dead.
I think Big Boss is as if the figurehead of Outer Heaven, maybe.
Yeah, like Big Boss is not a person per
as
se.
A role.
It's a title.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, because
yes,
in that scenario, there's, I guess, two Snakes, where there's Solid Snake and there's Raiden, and then there is the Big Boss role of Solidus, who wanted to make Outer Heaven Manhattan, and now Liquid, who wanted to make Outer Heaven in the first game. Right? Yeah. So, like, I think he's like, hey, there can only be one of each of us. And then he leaves, because he's like, if I leave, then that means I'm the one. You know, like, can't kill me. You two figure it out. But any final thoughts on the Arsenal revelations? Because, again, they do throw a lot at you here, but...
No, that shit really is funny. I don't think I realized it, but Liquid showing up and going, "Gotta go." It's awesome.
So
I'm slightly disappointed by the reveal of Arsenal. It just being like this big hulking.
I wish it was a better reveal.
Yeah.
Ship.
I agree.
Yeah, because like what Christian said, when you hit the start button when you're in Arsenal, you get that amazing rendition of like the turtle with the city on the back, and it's like, what is this? I wish it was. I wish you almost never even saw Arsenal, because I like the idea of being so secretive, and the idea of its purpose as not like a weapon but more like a dissemination like structure for misinformation and all that sort of stuff. I wish it was. I would just wish you never saw it in the game. I think it would have been really interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
But they had to stand somewhere, so I guess it's on top of Arsenal.
Yeah, and like I don't know, like I just kind of like a letdown, like design wise too, because like I mean, Metal Gear Rex looks so fucking cool, even on PS1. Like,
Yeah.
that looks dope, right? And then I think Metal Gear Ray, I don't think as cool as Rex, but Ray looks dope as hell. And then we get this like just like dark blue like blob, essentially. You know, that's supposed to be
boring.
this big Arsenal thing. Yeah, it just doesn't look that great. Yeah, I agree.
It's boring. Sorry, you go ahead. I keep interrupting.
No, yeah. I mean, but like now I'm thinking like, were there better shots of it in the deleted scenes?
That's what I think.
I bet that's what it is, right? Like I bet there were way better shots of it that looked super cool and all that, you know? Yeah.
I think Big Shell is supposed to look kind of shitty and boring and lame, because it's like, I don't think it's supposed to be desirable, right? Because even Solidus doesn't even want it at one point.
Mhm.
Like, it was a facility. Yeah, apparently it houses this AI, but otherwise it's just that. Like, you can make it look cool, but I think it's just like, I think you're supposed to understand that it's not exactly that cool, from what I get. You know, like,
Yeah,
it's just. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna just add on because in that scene, you know, when they're breaking it down, and he's like, "Oh, we were just gonna give Arsenal to Dead Cell because like it's useless without all this defense." It's like it's really just the core. So
Yeah, they make it sound so dumb, right? Where
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, you don't even needs all this stuff to operate. Who wants that? Like, I don't know.
So, this snake jumps off the thing, and then we transition to the big culmination, a very long codec call, and then a final boss fight in the ending. So, this codec call, there's so much here that I just didn't write down notes about it.
Well, it's okay, Christian. I posted the whole script in the Discord, so you can just read it out from the top if you don't mind.
Sounds good.
Just give us your guesses. All right, thank you.
All right.
You don't have to do that.
If we want a refresher, I can do it.
I mean, it's fucking
That's a
awesome.
lot.
But no, it's good, man.
Okay.
I will say this picture I posted. It's the whole script. I love that it's been taken from iFunny in the bottom right, because it is just like that misinformation plot in Junk Data. I feel like this game gets into, but yeah.
So, this I think is where the game really elevates itself and becomes kind of timeless in a lot of ways, because it goes off. You have this malfunctioning AI about the kernel and a representation of your girlfriend who is just basically calling you an idiot, and explaining why, much like Darwinism, technology is a curse because there's just too much shit in the world and it has to be cut through to preserve the important stuff so humanity can grow. That's like a very broad stroke of what this entire sequence is about. Jack, walk me through what it's like seeing all this happen. What are your thoughts about the codec call?
Yeah, so this is, I think, the scariest part of the game.
Yeah.
And that's divorcing the fact that progressively the Colonel's face is like just a sunken in skull at certain points, and he turns around at certain points, and the imagery is scary in and of itself, but it's the fact that this AI is like belittling you, like what you said, and it's essentially saying that it's built off of the foundations of American thought, like freedom, patriotism, stuff like that, like sort of the ideals of America, and it is terrifying because they're essentially saying like, we don't want to. You're thinking our goal is one of censorship, but it's more like we want to create context because there's like so much clutter that's happening, and like all this useful or useless information is piling up, and all this data is like the age of digital communication has given too much power to the individual person. And they're essentially talking about misinformation, and the goal of this AI is to prevent that. And it's kind of scary because I'm listening to it as they go along, and it's supposed to be sinister, but I'm like, man, like we live in an age of misinformation and disinformation. It's like, what if something like this was a reality, and Raiden essentially like prevents that from happening? Maybe, I actually don't know, but it's kind of scary because we're living in this era of misinformation, and it has so much terrible ramifications and real world impact, where it's like, is this even are the Patriots even the bad guys for doing this? Because it's like, what if that happened and misinformation wasn't like the law of the land as it is now? So it's just kind of terrifying.
Just to like go off of that too, like I think what is extra like scary about it too is that there is that power of the individual they talk about here, but it's coming from the AI that's coded by the Patriots, right? So like you can't help but think that the Patriots would use this to further their own view of history, right? And like, again, I think on that level it's also scary because mere months ago we had the most powerful person in the United States spreading misinformation to further their own view of history and how the country is working. So I think on that level too, it's kind of like, and like very, very lightly, I think like some of the themes of like Cap 2 deal with that too, of like, hey, if you have all this power of the system, it's like there will inevitably be, no matter how altruistic the intent is, there will be somebody who escalates their way through this power structure and use that system to further their own gain. And I think, while I'm with you completely on just the notion of how misinformation works, I do think like the idea of the Patriots being painted in this way against Snake and Riot and, like the heroes, like that's the way I was reading into it too, of like the Patriots sort of acting in like a post 2016 sort of governmental oversight role. So like, I agree. I don't want to make it sound like they were in any way, shape, or form that system would have been good at all. Right. Obviously, there would be nefarious acts either way, but just the way we find ourselves right now is scary, because Solidus's way of like giving back like freedoms and civil rights and all that, that his goals of like they seem altruistic, but of course like he's like, oh, I'm not a man in pursuit of power. It's like, well, yes, of course you are. And the spiel that we got from the Patriots of them like trying to curb misinformation, it's like, well, yeah, you probably would have also harnessed that power to do some nefarious things as well. It's just scary because I don't think either result of those organizations would have resulted in a good thing. And just the fact that where we find ourselves in real life right now is just scary, how prescient this game was. Yeah, for sure. Omar, some of the delivery from Solidus definitely feels like like forum posters that are like, I see the light, you know, like you. I want to hear your thoughts on the entire portion here of the codec. Like, what sticks with you most out of this entire thing?
Man, I kind of really don't know what to say, to be honest. Like, there's so much. I feel like you feel a lot of it. I think that concept of this misinformation cycle or context, curating information stuff. It's when they say it's not for the Patriots, it's actually for you. For you and society. Like, it's actually what everyone wants. It's that conversation where Rose and Campbell are talking to you, and Rose, I believe, is the AI during this, or she has to be. She sounds so vicious. Where it's like, you're told to be nice to everyone, but beat out the competition.
I loved that part. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I loved that. Yeah.
It's... I really don't know what to tell you about it. Like, there is all that stuff. Of course, in recent years, we've seen the Cambridge Analytica stuff where all this misinformation on like a larger scale or more obvious than usual. But I think in a lot of ways is... there were always seeds of this when this game was being made, right? I think obviously it grew up, it blew up in a way that I don't think Kojima even predicted, but like, or couldn't have known. But I don't know, man. It's just a lot.
It really is. Like, I think there's a lot of levels here. Like, obviously it's just haunting the way that, like, we've been talking about. I'm just like, wow, this is like, he nailed it. Yeah, he really did. Like, this is exactly basically what came to fruition.
But even if we forget about that though for a moment there, and we just think about Metal Gear Solid 2 as Metal Gear Solid 2 and being like this sequel to one game, and the way it was marketed, the way it plays with your expectations the whole way through, like, I think it just serves. I think this game is kind of like brilliant in terms of being made to serve this point, right? It's all there. It's always there. Like, I don't know if we really talked about it as much because Kevin hadn't finished the game yet, but like the marketing for this game, they never showed Raiden once. Right. And you saw the Taker trailer, and like there were more trailers too where they did show Snake in actual sections of the plant, but no one knew when that game came out.
In the Digital Foundry video, they showed like early gameplay of Snake in the Fortune fight down in the starting area of the plant, where like you see all those effects and she's like blowing up the whole room and like all that. Snake is in there in early footage, which is really interesting. Yeah, which like they pulled like the way I felt about this game, stepping back from it, and the way like so many parallels to it, like it is like, I think it took a lot of balls for Naughty Dog to do part 2. You know, like I think it took a lot of risk and like some fucking balls on Neil Druckmann to like do a lot of like, I didn't realize Metal Gear Solid 2 did. You know, even in terms of like where I learned last night, like, you know, how they swapped out character models in certain segments showing this game. You know, they did the same thing in MGS2. Like, it's, dude, crazy.
Yeah, if you think Neil Druckmann's balls are big, how big do you think Kojima's are now?
Like, bro.
Grapefruits?
Hey, man.
Look,
listen.
We'll never see.
Always buy a straw or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna lie. I really don't know how to talk about this segment, to be honest with you, because like I played this. Yeah, I played this in like 8th grade, and I honestly think like it changed my fucking worldview. To be honest, I don't know if that's fucked up to say, but like I remember specifically being in my basement at like 11 a.m. going like, what? Like, and then like just never being the same. I don't know. It's just I think it radicalized me, man. I don't fucking know.
No, I mean, like, I didn't talk for a while. Like, I don't know, like, I don't know how to even bounce off of what you're telling me here.
Mhm.
You know, like, and like, I know to like a certain degree, like, that's the point. It's just crazy that, like even when I think about the first MGS1, right? It's like, okay, cool. I'm doing this mission, straightforward. This is what we're doing, right? And at the end, we're talking about living a life worth living.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what the like? Where do we even like start? You know? And then like this is just that like times 1,000. Like you're like questioning like things that we've been told as children ethically, right? On like how to be like a successful person in life, you know, like having compassion, but also being the best of the best, you know, like things that when you lay it out, you're right, like they are opposites of each other. It's just fucking it was a wild thing to experience. It was yeah, and like I tweeted this last night, like, you know, I loved Death Stranding, right, like mainly for like the world that Kojima like created and the characters and all that as my first foray into his games. Metal Gear Solid 1 I thought was really great, very iconic. Like I see like a lot of where, you know, games you know, like how we got like the modern-esque tendencies, I feel like started a lot from MGS1, I have to assume, right? Mm-hmm. Other games too, but you know, MGS is a part of that. This, it was like, okay, I think fully understand the clout that Hideo Kojima gets. You know, it was this game where it was like, okay, I understand what you're all like, what everyone says about Kojima. Like now I understand it. You know, in a way that I don't think I did with Death Stranding or the first Metal Gear.
Sure. Yeah, and there's like a lot of layers here too, because like Omar briefly mentioned it earlier, but like they call into question, like, as a player of games, what's going on here. Like Rose, like very, like you were saying, Omar, like very antagonistically towards Ryan is like, oh, you think you have free will? Do something about it. And like she's like talking to him and the player, like, you really can't. You're in a cutscene. Like you have a set role for this game. And I just think it's genius. Like I don't think I've ever seen a game or any medium like use its form to hit its points this hard and well. And like I think the part 2 comparison, like on a surface level, I think but I think what this game is doing narratively, using the form of video games, is like significantly more impressive to me.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, MGS2 like takes the like philosophical like way you view what happens in this game like on a much deeper level that transcends into reality, where like part 2 there is a transcendence of like, you know, taking the events in that game and the motivations of that game and how it feeds into everyday life, right? Like in the core of like humanity, like that's also a thing, but I think it just stopped at like human nature and humanity as a whole, as opposed to MGS2, which is literally like talking about like a society, like what like we were built off of, you know, like as it's much more vast. This
codec call serves as like a warning for 21st century life.
100%.
It's like it's terrifying. I just don't understand how you like, obviously, like I think what Omar was saying, like the seeds were set for our society to turn into this. Like we saw that once computers and the digital age like began, but for this coming out in 2001, probably being made like in the late 90s, and to have something to say about 2021 life is insane. And I think if this game came out exactly as it was in this year or like around this time, it'd be like, oh, that they're just like hitting it way too much on the head, and it's like a little too on the nose. It's like, yeah, of course the digital age is scary, and there's so much wrong with it, and misinformation's a thing. Yeah, well, that's just the life we live. But for this game to come out like 20 years ago and be talking about how we're living right now is there's just no words to describe it. I don't even know what to say about it.
Yeah. I think what I kept thinking about last night too is that, like, you know, I don't understand how a sober mind in 2001 has these thought like routes, you know, like has his line. Like, I don't think it derives from a sober mind. I think that's all I'm gonna say about it. You know what I'm saying? But I
a lot of it does come from like I touched on a couple of these things like very briefly in some communication classes I took, but like a lot of it does have roots in just like theory about globalization, and just how communication.
Marshall McLuhan.
Yes.
The Global Village.
Yes, Jack.
I took those classes.
Oh man, never thought I'd hear somebody say that name again. But
there you go.
Yeah, like I think Kojima just having the foresight of applying that theory and then seeing the internet exist in the late 90s and seeing that those theories could become a reality, and just like I think you can get to that point, but I think doing it through this medium in a way that's so relevant, and the games industry is like one of the most profitable entertainment industries right now, like this game's a perfect storm, I think, in so many ways about saying something that replaying it, it makes me look at other games that I think use the medium well, like in a worse light, because I think that there's just something to say about all the things that they got right here. So like Jack said, 20 years ago, how relevant it is now, and how the way that it gives you agency, kind of, because like you can make certain choices of how you want to treat the world, how you want to treat the people in the world, but at the end of the day, Raiden's still a killer. There's still all these things, like it pushes against you in ways that I think other games try to do, but they don't always hit it, and I'm kind of speechless about a lot of it.
It is so sorry.
I just want to ask if this is a real tweet. I swear.
Yeah, this Kojima weed one?
Yeah.
No, it is not.
Damn it. Shit, I wish it was.
Is a tweet where Kojima goes, with Troy Baker, actor for Ocelot, he sold me some weed, hard to get in Japan. It's a big tweet.
I wish it was real. I wish it was real.
Nah, Christian, you're saying what I love. The Metal Gear Solid 2 is so fucking good about being a video game.
Yeah.
Like, despite being like, you know, like 8 hours cutscenes where you don't touch the controller, it is a video game where I think it always calls into question like what's canon and what isn't sometimes too. Like everything you do in the game is canon, but it isn't, if that makes sense. Like Snake briefly says something about the tanker mission to Raiden, where he's like I think Raiden says like he did the tanker stuff in VR, and Snake goes, they probably didn't even get some of that right. Like almost calling into question like the fact that you when you play that tanker mission, you're just, I don't know, doing whatever, dragging bodies into lockers, just jerking off, like all that stuff is right there. Snake probably didn't do that, but it's VR, so you did it, and that wasn't the events, but in the context of this game it is, because you're the player and you're doing shit. Like it's mind-bending to me sometimes thinking about this shit. Like I don't fucking know.
I would like to end this portion with words that compelled me to tweet looking at this whole thing, okay? Because by the end of, like, it was starting on this section, and then by the end of it, it was like I just want to, you know, wrap myself in a blanket like a cocoon. You know, bring out the sweet sauce, pick me up, dip me in the sweet sauce, and call me an egg roll. Like I don't know how to even like process. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot. I don't even know, bro.
Yeah,
crazy.
So
it like almost makes other games like look so stupid. You know,
yeah.
Like, you know, it makes a lot of other games just look like really dumb. Like like other games I played on PS2, like I played a lot of like Astro Boy, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like there was something so serious on the same platform that like did so many other things. That's like, damn. I don't know. It was just, yeah, it's crazy.
Else that come close to this game in the year. I mean, I'm not gonna try and rally my arguments now, but look, can I get anyone else saying this is the best game ever made? Anyone?
It's up. It's one of the best. I can.
It's one of the
it's-
best, for sure.
Yeah,
Cool.
I can see that. Yeah.
Like,
it's definitely in that conversation. I feel like this and Kojima with his projects more so than most video games this is a game that has something to say.
yeah.
One week.
What's that?
I just said I'll see you. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, like what you guys were saying about this being a game, I think I'm in the camp of this being like using gameplay to tell the story. Like, I'm in the opinion that you can make a Metal Gear Solid 1 movie based off that. Like, of course, like gameplay is a big part in that, but I think you can make a compelling movie based off of that game. But I don't know how you do that with this game, because like everything with a codec is just so integral to how you tell that story and the tension that is seated in just looking at this blank screen with this skull of a man's head. Mm-hmm. It's just, yeah, I think, yeah, this game is one of the all-time greats, I would say.
Yeah, because I think what Omar said too about like a few games have come close. I think, Kevin, it makes like some modern games look bad in comparison also.
A lot, yeah.
Because and this is a game I love, right? I'm not trying to down and play a game, but like take like something like God of War 2018. It's like they tell a really solid story in there. It's like a play. It's really cool stuff. It takes advantage of doing a single camera shot. Like there's a lot of really cool, commendable things in that game. But I would argue you could have done that as a film. There's been one-shot films before that have a similar effect. Like I think there's something to say about a game not being ashamed it's a game that makes this shine even brighter with its points and its narrative, that I would love to see more studios try for. I know it's a very hard thing to do, because if we did do a bonus episode, I wanted to focus it really on, do you guys think anything like this game could ever happen again? If we just have a quick answer for that, like, do
Yes.
you?
Well, there was one. I actually think there's a 2020 game that's more like this game than Last of Us Part 2 was, to be honest with you.
What is it?
I think Final Fantasy VII Remake is kind of like this game in a lot of ways.
Okay.
Only because of the way it's playing expectations, like Metal Gear. Like, obviously it says it's a remake on the front, but I think the way that game calls and plays with your expectations of the original and fucks with it a little bit is reminiscent of this one.
Sure. Okay.
Yes, that is
I see that.
not to say that Final Fantasy VII gets as essentialist and crazy as this one does, but maybe in the future it could happen.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Sure.
It definitely, yeah, okay. Yeah. Because, like, I mean, I just find Remake to be very meta, right?
Mm-hmm.
And very much like it'll say a sentence and the in-game character and lore checks out, but also the game talking to you also checks out. Mm-hmm. And it does that at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I think that, like, from an expectations level, absolutely. And I think if, like, it's hard to say what the future is for that series, but like 7, or the original 7, it has a point, but I don't think it has a point that's like trying to be, and maybe this game wasn't trying to be it, but like I'd say prophetic in a lot of ways. But like 7's like, hey, respect the environment, but like you could get messy with that in future titles, I think.
How did they know that we would be in such a bad state in 1997?
Yeah.
How'd they fucking know?
Yeah. Damn. That was, fuck, man. I don't even want to talk too much about it because I'm going to go off on the beat. Yeah. Shout out to 7.
I will say, as much as I did say this is my favorite game, I don't think every game needs to be this, right? Like, I think your point about it being a game, calling out the fact that it's a game, is what I love about it. But do I necessarily need like Kratos to be like, Atreus, remember dying last mission? Try not to do that again. Or like,
right? Yeah, like clearly it doesn't work for everything. I wasn't trying to say I want God of War to do that, but like, I think seeing where most modern big budget games like that are the most hyped, like this was at the time, the way they tell stories compared to this, I would like to see a couple others like try to do something ambitious like this. You know,
I'd love to see Kojima try again, but I feel like he has. Like, sorry, Jack, I interrupted.
I just think Metal Gear Solid 2 is like one of those perfect storms where it just has everything. Like, it is a game-ass game, but it also tells like a compelling story. Like, I think a game that I think of that like is unabashedly a game and it tells its story as a video game is Hades. Like, it just you just die constantly over and over again, and that's part of the story. Does it tell like this meta narrative about society as a whole? No, but it is an instance of a video game doubling down on its existence as a game and telling its story like that. But I think Metal Gear Solid 2 just has like everything combined. It has it being a video game, doubling down on a video game. It has it telling a story about this societal context, and it is, like what you're saying, it is very prescient. So I don't know, that it does seem like the kind of perfect storm where this is like once in a lifetime sort of video game. So maybe we do get games like this in the future, but it seems like there's a lot going into it for it to be successful.
Yeah, and I feel like the games industry is just in such a different place now too, because like I think this was like, again, there's no other game at the time that's like this, and there's also no other game at the time that's like going for that Uncharted God of War cinematic thing, right? Like, there's not. So like this is pretty out there, and I think the current standard for impressive storytelling is the highest budget, the most movie-like you can get, right? And I think it's just so deep into that at that point that I don't know if, like you said, Jack, this like perfect storm of like all these things that, and being like proud to be this medium, I don't know if that could happen again, and if it does, I don't know if it'll be a AAA title, and at that point, I don't know if it's the same impact. But. And
there are just very few like Kojima's a video game auteur, right? In the same way that like Martin Scorsese is like a film auteur, right? There are just very few.
Know about that. Sorry.
You know what I mean. Christopher Nolan. I'll just throw out names. You know what I mean.
I'm kidding. I like Scorsese.
Like there are just very few like people like that in the video game industry compared to the film industry,
right?
Or even like authors. So yeah, it's, I don't know. I feel like he was one of, and is, I should say, one of those people in the industry that can make industry changing video games, but I just think they're so few and far between.
I'm glad he's still trying. So
yeah, I should probably revise my point. I think I'm with you guys. Like, you can't make Metal Gear Solid 2 again for sure.
Yeah.
But I think there are ways that I think things could try. But no, this is really the perfect storm. Plus, in terms of the whole ride and twist, you just cannot do that anymore. You know, like, there's no way.
Yeah, because things would just leak. You know, that's what happened with part 2. That leaked.
Oh, we data mined riding off the tanker thing. Like, fuck off. I don't know.
So, well, the end of the game. I mean, well, the boss fight, I liked the sword fight.
Better than Liquid.
I think it's
way
awesome.
way better than Liquid Fight, by a fucking mile. By a mile. Christian, shut up. It's better. It's better.
No, it is. I was gonna say, I forgot I could block, so it made the fight much harder because I was dodging like a Souls boss. I was not blocking. I was just like trying to cartwheel over these flames, like trying to like break his posture. Like it was taking me some time, but I love this fight so much. It's so good.
Yeah. It went pretty quick for me as well. I think now that I have like a really proper grasp of like the core controls of MGS, and like I don't imagine they'll change that drastically. I don't know. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't know. I know there's big control changes in like PS3 and PS4 era, so maybe MGS5 is way different. But I think for MGS3, I think I'm gonna try normal. That way, like I think I get like a better experience in terms of boss fights, because like very easy, like they definitely do just kind of make the bosses just very easy. Yeah. So yeah, but I did like this fight as well. I liked it. Yeah. But it's just very quick for me.
I would say, like, honestly, like I've had a couple, because I'm playing on easy. I'm the only interstitial between very easy and normal. I think it's fair. Like, the boss fights aren't super quick for me, but there's still like the ones that could be annoying aren't annoying because I'm like still competent. So like I think easy is still solid, but yeah, I can understand that, because there I found myself being like, I wish that was a little more intense, but
yeah.
So the very, very end, we kill Solidus.
Wait.
Oh, go ahead.
Wait. I must interject. That's a boss fight against the fucking president. I mean, former president. Also, he's your dad. Also, he's Dr. Octopus. What? I think it's great.
I forgot that he was your dad. No, I mean that he was a former president. I totally forgot that. Yeah. And he killed your parents.
It's like you fighting Bill Clinton in 2001 or something.
Damn.
Like,
fucking wild.
It's awesome.
Young got a sword.
Yo, that was really good.
I'm not gonna do another one because I'll mess it up. But there you go.
No, sorry.
I'll
We
leave it
need you
behind
doing that impression
really
for some of these crazy Colonel quotes at the end of the episode.
That's
on you.
So I'm wondering too, because like I think it's very fun that the former president, like you're saying, is like, oh, the birth of our new nation would have been on the steps of Federal Hall 200 years after April 30th, when George Washington became the first president. Like, all that's incredible. At the same time, I can see why, if the original battlefield was the Statue of Liberty, why that makes a bit more sense. Because, like, Federal Hall seems a little random to me. Like, but I get it, you know?
Isn't it by that George Washington statue or something? Or
yeah,
there's a George Washington statue somewhere.
And I think it also cues up to the point where we can see people afterwards.
Sure,
like just resuming their lives.
Yeah.
I guarantee you probably would have fought on a skyscraper. I don't know if you guys know this, but during development of Metal Gear Solid 2, it was called Metal Gear Solid 3. Did you know this?
What? Wait, no. I don't think I knew that.
I saw it last night on Digital Foundry. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was going to be called to symbolize the 3 tallest skyscrapers in Manhattan. And it was going to be like Roman numerals. And also, Kojima said to confuse players.
Yes. Yeah. Which is like,
out.
What the fuck? Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. I was also going to mention, I never noticed this, but Solidus's 2 swords, one of them says Republican, the other says Democrat.
You're fucking joking.
Christ.
No, you're lying. You're lying. No, stop this.
I'm being real. To be honest, I actually didn't notice it myself. I just heard that. I think it's real, but I have no idea. I'm going to pretend it's real.
Kevin's looking it up.
I don't know. I don't even know what I was searching.
That's
I don't even know
incredible.
It has to be real. I heard it from Dan Reichert. It has to be real.
The president wants
Dirty Dan Reichert.
The president wants to have a misinformation campaign to give himself power, and he uses the weapons of controlling Republicans and Democrats. That.
Oh my god, you're not fucking joking.
There's too many layers to this.
Solidus chose to wield, I'm going to try and pronounce this as eloquently as I can, a daisho. Wait, sorry. Okay, so Brave Japanese swords, whatever. One a katana and the other whatever. Let's see. So one is called the Minshuto, which translates to Democrat, and Kyowato, which translates to Republican, and they're both Japanese terms. Fuck me.
Wow.
Bro.
What a good game,
Yeah.
I think.
GG.
Yeah, that's just like, that's in the same camp of like, oh, Raiden's named after the Japanese plane, which translates to Jack in America. Like,
Yeah. I forgot about that too.
Sick.
Oh my god. This game is something else. So we finish the fight. He falls. He's like reaching for the statue. I just love how this game ends so much. Just visually, and we get our resolution in many different ways. The crowd comes out. First, we talk to Snake, and he's like, "Hey, we have the actual disc that has we can like reverse engineer it to find out who the Patriots are and track them down because that's what Liquid's going to be doing." Ryan's like, "Sweet, when do we start?" And he's like, "Nah, sorry, man. Get your shit straight first."
You need to see a therapist.
Yeah.
Wait, Liquid is tracking down the Patriots, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Liquid as in like... So is Ocelot no more? Like, did Liquid like take over? That's a question that y'all can't answer. Okay, never mind.
Right.
Okay.
But yeah, so we get that answer at least of like what the next step is for Snake and his plan. Presumably Otakon as well. And is it here where we see the dog tags?
Yes.
Yes. Dude, did you guys freak out?
I freaked the fuck out.
Wow, he had the same birthday as me.
Yes.
It was the
and
birthday.
then you were like,
yeah.
Oh shit, I entered that in at the beginning of this.
I was like, oh, right.
And he had the same name as me.
Well, it's weird because I named the file Raiden. Because I was like, is this going to be some weird Zelda thing where if I don't name him Link, they're going to call me Christian, and when I'm playing Zelda, like...
That's what I didn't want. Yeah, like, I want to be for as Kevin. Like, fuck that. If his name's Raiden, his name's Raiden. Yeah.
You gotta see
I was riding high on Jack.
Yeah.
I was like, yep, I'm totally fine.
Yeah. My tag said Omar Nakvi, and I loved it when Raiden ripped my tags off, almost like finally we have relinquished the control of the player, and Raiden is his own self now. I think it's a cool moment, you know?
Yeah, it's very good.
And plus, we've been playing this with 4 weeks, so I think I played it a little faster, but you kind of forget totally that you get 100 days.
Definitely.
Yeah, I forgot because I saw April 9th and I was like, oh shit! I was like, wait, no. Because I named him that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Should we talk about, like, this is the moment where, like, you know, there's been a massive terrorist attack in Manhattan and no one notices?
Is there an explanation, though?
I'm pretty sure this is the Patriots creating context for that situation, right? This is them covering up the fact that they have explained that there is an issue and no one bats an eye because it's already been rationalized to them. I think that's the point.
Yeah.
And that was the whole point of the plant mission, right? To see if they can control information on the scale, right? And
it was successful.
I think they did. Yeah, they got it.
Yeah.
But
fuck.
Yeah.
So Arsenal's not destroyed then. So is that structure in play then? That I guess we see it at the end of this game that they can still create the context that they were talking about. So I guess I just answered my question.
I think so, yeah. I think the only reason Colonel was bugging out is because like the connection with Raiden was potentially severed at some point. Or like,
well, there was the
up.
virus.
Yeah.
That was like implemented and kind of half worked.
Right. But I think between what's left of Arsenal and the fact that the Patriots already had a backdoor into like every computer because of Y2K, it allows them still to do this stuff.
Right.
So.
Are the Patriots just the Illuminati?
I think, right? Like, that's it, right? That's the idea. But I like the name Patriots better for that organization. I think that's cooler.
I think so, too.
So Snake dips out, and then we get Raiden's closure with Rose, who they're like, hey, you know what? We actually are going to start a life together and figure stuff out. Like, actually learn about each other, because now Raiden is self-aware and knows who he is and knows what he wants to be. Rose is pregnant with their child. So that's kind of where we leave off. Kevin or Omar, go ahead.
There's that moment where Raiden and Rose are talking, right? and Raiden goes, "This is just for you," and cuts off the audio, so we don't hear the rest. Where I think it again exploring that player to character relationship, right? Where you're not Raiden anymore; he's his own guy. I think over the course of the game, he finds himself, and you're not a part of his life anymore.
Yeah, I love that.
Me too.
So then there's no way that the other katana thing could be Raiden. I'm gonna just put down the notes. Like if like that's what that's interpreting, then I'm gonna put maybe not.
Oh, he does have one mission still. Like Snake leaves him with one thing. He's like, "Hey, I'll find Olga's kid, but they're still tracking your vitals, so just stay alive so that kid can survive until I find him."
Right.
So there is that at least. Like that's still like one less direction that Raiden's given.
The kid was tracking like Raiden's vitals or Olga's.
Raiden's vitals. Yeah.
So Olga needed to make sure Raiden was alive to make sure that kid doesn't die.
Right,
Okay.
because the Patriots wanted to give Raiden as much support as possible so he could complete the mission.
I see.
So.
Sure, we can't have any more questions. I think we answered everything.
Yeah.
Do we want to get into the credit sequence at this point, or Kevin, do you have any other questions? Or do you want to save them?
I don't know if I have any. Like, I'm sure I do, but I don't think I do. Sure. Question mark. Wait. Where's Otakon at the end?
He was delivering the hostages. He's probably on Manhattan.
Yeah, I know he's okay. So he's doing that.
You got him out.
So Olga's definitely dead. You know what? I don't even know. I can't even say what I know for sure. Right? Like, I wouldn't even be that surprised, honestly, if Solidus is not even dead. You know, like, yeah. I know we saw him, and, like, yeah, I don't even want to say I believe that he's actually even dead, to be completely honest. Like, I don't know, man.
Well, I mean, Liquid survived. So,
yeah, fucking Liquid, yeah. So, Jesus, bro.
I would we all played the remaster, right? The PS3 one?
Yeah.
Or
Blueprint, yeah.
Yeah, I will say I don't like the achievement list in this at all in terms of the names. I think they ruined some moments where defeating Solidus and then getting the achievement, another snake bites the dust, where it's like, all right, I guess he's about to die. Or when you defeat the Rays, you get that one that goes, "No Ray, Jose," where it's like, all right, making jokes about my video game.
Yeah.
Also, very unimportant. This trophy list is awful. It requires 5 playthroughs.
Wow.
Not as bad as future spoiler Metal Gear Solid 4. It's not really a future spoiler. That trophy list requires 8 playthroughs.
Jesus.
For the platinum. 8.
Plus, I know for 2, you have to do like all the VR missions too. There's like 500 of those, right?
Yeah. Fuck that.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
So, after we lose contact with Raiden here, we transition to Snake, and he starts doing some like badass 4th of July ending monologue. And something that we didn't really touch on at all, like Solidus is talking about why he wants to do this, because genetically he can't reproduce, and that's like the reason that humanity exists, is so he can just pass on knowledge and genes. But since Solidus can't do that, he wants to leave a legacy. And then Snake, in a similar fashion, he is a les enfants terribles product, so he can't reproduce either. So it's like, okay, how does he feel about this? And he's talking about his purpose. He's like, he lives for preserving the human experience and allowing the people that can, live as humanity is supposed to, do that freely and become a true savior of freedom, I guess. Like that's his reason for living.
I feel like this is a great cutscene of just like really good advice. Yeah. The one that stuck out to me was, I don't know if it's because there's a couple like shots of like people walking around New York, like before and after the credits. And he says at one point, he's like, "Don't obsess over words so much. Find the meaning behind the words, then decide." Mm-hmm. That's essentially just him talking about the video game that we just played.
Yeah.
Being like, "I know you're confused, But just think about it a little bit. Don't focus on the nitty gritty and just sort of find the meaning that you experience. Because whatever was real or not, you did experience. Like, your experiences are real, no matter if they're quote unquote real or not. So just sort of lament on that and figure out how you feel about that. So yeah, I really like this final part. This is one of my favorite parts of the game.
I love Solid Snake so much. I think he's my favorite Metal Gear character. I know there's a lot of Metal Gear we haven't seen yet, but man, he is so cool. Yeah. He always does the right things, and it was so fun seeing him in a support role in this game, I think. That I just want to say shout outs to Solid Snake.
Shout out.
He's a good guy.
David Hayter, Solid Snake.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
What a performance David Hayter puts in this one.
Yeah, he kills it.
Yeah.
This, to me, this is like prime Snake, and I think it's made even sweeter that we don't play as him in the game, just so you can appreciate him, you know. But this is the Snake that's in Smash for a reason, you know. Like, this is the prime Snake.
Damn.
Imagine Nintendo paying Kiefer Sutherland.
So was there? That's really how they end off on the credits, and then we get our post-credit scene, or dialogue at least. How? Yes.
Before we move on to post-credits, can I say that this song is beautiful? It is my favorite in Metal Gear, I think. It's "Can't Say Goodbye to Yesterday."
Yeah.
With the great piano tones and that lady going, "Oh, I can't say goodbye." I'm not gonna sing, but it's awesome. It's so good.
It's a very, very good song, and I love too, because if you notice it or not, it's the song that plays during the coda calls with like Jack and Rose throughout the game. Well, like when we get that transition to music for some of their calls, it is "Can't Say Goodbye to Yesterday," which I agree is one of maybe the best song that they use in the game.
Underrated, I think, Christian. I think it's really underrated. I think people don't talk about it enough.
Yeah. I've been listening to it on my Spotify, so we'll see what happens. Awesome. But
we should definitely do a ranking of vocal tracks at the end of all this.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
The post-credit thing. Kevin, did you expect another one?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. I was like, guys, we're just gonna wait till the cutscene, because I'm sure there's something here. I'm sure.
Yes. Do you want to walk us through this?
So, I think if I recall, it's Otakon and Snake. Otakon's like, "Hey, yo, you know that disc? Haha, I checked it out. You know, we got all the list right here, all the names, all the social security, blood types. It's all here, man. It's all right there." So I was like, "Bet, this sounds great. Let's get to work killing these homies, I think, or something like that. I don't know. Let's get. Where are they? You know?" And he goes, yeah, they're in Manhattan, but they've been dead for 100 years.
Fuck yeah.
And that's about when I was, telling chat, I'm gonna go lay down egg roll, sweet sauce, and so I feel like it'd be foolish for me to ask questions about that specific point. So I probably should not. But what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? What do you mean they've been dead for 100 years?
Do you remember the ending line of this conversation with Otakon at all? The last quote from Snake?
I don't.
It's the last quote of the game. It's the last word spoken. It's Solid Snake going, "What the hell?"
Yes, which I love too, because it's like, bro, I'm right there with you, man.
That about sums it up.
Yep. Now, sounds pretty accurate. Yeah.
Jack, am I wrong, or is there one other piece of information that Otakon references here about philanthropy and the Patriots?
Not that I can
You're right,
recall.
Christian.
What is it, Omar?
It is that one of the names here was the biggest contributor to philanthropy, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, for Otakon and Snake's mission, one of the biggest contributors to help them in their 2 years post Metal Gear Solid and where we pick up at the tanker, one of their biggest contributors, probably, lead-wise, of like telling them some stuff about some Metal Gears, was one of the Patriots on that list of 12 wise men that have all been dead for 100 years. Dead and buried in Manhattan.
So, Christian, back to when I was talking about who sent for Snake.
Yes.
You think it's that?
Yes.
You think it's that contributor? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yes, that's what I was trying to dance around.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm stupid.
No, it's okay.
I couldn't figure it out, but it's cool.
I didn't want to derail. Talking about the dead wise men.
Right.
So, that's the end of Metal Gear Solid 2.
So fuck. Like,
All wrapped up
man.
nicely with a bow.
Hell,
Sure.
of course.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
So,
shout out to those shots of New York though. Like that, beautiful FMVs. Like fucking. Well, I don't know if it's FMVs at that point, but beautiful shots and just like, yeah, beautiful clip.
I was thinking, like, imagine if you were a passerby in those shots and you were playing this game and it's like, that's me. That's me.
That's like the point of the game. It's amplified even more at that point.
Yeah.
Shit.
There's a freeze frame and it's like you looking at the camera. It's like, what?
Yeah.
It's like Black Ops 1 when they zoom in and it's like, oh my god, Alex Mason fucking murdered JFK. What the fuck? That's a real thing that they did. It's like, why?
Oh my god. So, obviously we can go through our results, and then I think we can leave off a ranking, and then just final thoughts. And since we're going straight into Metal Gear Solid 3 next week, I would love to hear again from the panel who are returning, things we want to look out for. And then Kevin, I really want to know what the fuck you think you're playing next week. So,
okay, perfect.
Let's go through results. Jack, run through your results page. Let me hear your code name and final thoughts. Just do that first, then we'll get into rankings.
Excellent. So I got my results page pulled up. My playtime was 13 hours, 51 minutes, 13 seconds. I saved 34 times. I continued 44 times. I'm interested to hear you guys because I feel like I died a lot. I entered alert mode 33 times. Christ Sage. Let's all remember that. I killed 43 people, which is surprising to me. Because I played mostly non-lethally. And I used 40 rations. And my code name, very happy with this one. Elephant.
Ooh. Very nice.
Jack, can I ask you if you found this game easier than Metal Gear Solid 1? Or less frustrating?
Yes, but I think gameplay-wise, it's definitely less frustrating because of the advancements. There's some bullshit where you have to hold down like 5 buttons to shoot someone when you're like leaning around a corner, but I think that was just sort of the limitations with that. But I also think this game invites you to die more. Like, there's just so many... It invites you to experiment and just die more, so I think that's part of the reason why I died a lot more. But yeah, I think it's less frustrating.
Very nice.
Cool.
Kevin, let's hear those results.
Sorry. Hold on, I got them right here. Let's see. So, my playtime was 10 hours, 28 minutes, and 54 seconds. I saved 16 times. I continued 24 times. Alert mode was 23 times. I killed 28 people, and I used 9 rations, which is quite surprising.
Wow.
Damn.
And my code name is Jaguar.
Ooh, very nice.
From Puma to Jaguar.
That's what we got rolling there.
Omar, what's up with these results?
Sure. I played on very easy. My playtime was 10 hours and 14 minutes and 4 seconds. I saved 13 times. I continued 20. I engaged in alert mode 21 times. I killed 17 persons. And I used 5 rations. My codename is Jaguar as well.
Hell yeah.
Hey, very nice.
Attaboy.
I played on easy. I got through in 10 hours, 45 minutes, and 40 seconds. I saved 10 times. I continued 17 times. I went into alert mode 11 times. I killed 24 people, all from when I got the sword to the end. That was all of that point onward. I used 23 rations, and my code name is Scorpion.
Whoa.
That's fucking awesome. I'm jealous.
Yeah.
Scorpion.
So,
I'm replaying that game, getting a new code name this weekend.
interesting, though, Omar and Kevin are sharing the same code name again.
Yeah.
Yes, that
Very
is
nice.
cool. That is cool.
That's funny you say that, Omar, because immediately after I finished this game, I just think with like the narrative that it tells, immediately I was like, I want to replay this.
Yeah,
right
I
now.
thought the same thing.
Totally.
And like it is one of those shorter games where I feel like I could probably do that in a couple days. I might do that in the coming weeks. I might replay this game.
I might also do that.
I think
Let's
I might
go.
too. I was thinking about it. It's just a fun game to play too.
It is, and I'd like to play it on normal. I'd like to engage with those mechanics because it wants you to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I guess as a group, we decided to do this moving forward for the series. We will each be doing individual rankings as the series goes on, as well as a agreed upon group ranking. Do we have? I'll just say it. This is number one for me right now, personally. I don't know if the group feels differently. If we all agree, we can just slap that as the group one. But
I agree.
Yeah, you know how I feel, I think.
yeah, Kevin, what's up?
Yes and no. Like, I imagine when we're all done with this, right? I still think MGS1's probably my favorite. I think. Like,
Really? Okay.
maybe.
Fine.
I'm not sure.
To be honest.
But like, this game, like, it was just like, I think I might need more time to like even like sit on that to even like answer this question. You know what I'm
Sure.
saying? Like someone that like had just played it yesterday.
Yeah.
You know, like not even like a day has gone by,
Mhm.
right? But like fuck, I don't know, guys. Like I don't know,
Kevin,
like, you know what I'm saying?
my reasoning, I think, is because like I adore Metal Gear Solid 1. Like I think I was the hottest on it for the replay out of all of us. Like I excused every single issue that was brought up. But like I personally, I love the scenario of the first game more. I think it's so tight. I think it's like almost a perfect video game for what it's going for.
Yeah.
I have like zero issues with that game. But I just respect the ambition of 2 and the fact that it lands and is still timely. And I think that outweighs it just enough that I would rank it at number 1.
Like mentally, like yeah, I
Right.
know MGS2 is a better game,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
But I do love the like closed scenario of Shadow Moses, right? And like I love like, you know, like in this game, like how much they call back to Shadow Moses and like how important that whole scenario is, you know, to this game as well. But yeah, like if we're doing like the group list, then yeah, I would put MGS2 over MGS1 for sure. Yeah,
Sure. And the personal rankings can change, you know, like ideas. Like if we have more time to stew on this when we play like 4 and it's like, oh yeah, suddenly I realize that 2 is the better one. Like personal ranking can change, but I think as a group, if we just keep it locked in at the an agreed upon list. But
yeah.
I think there's some stuff in Metal Gear Solid 1 that probably is better than this in terms of like the cast, right? I think
Yeah.
the cast in Metal Gear Solid 1 is so strong. But in a lot of ways, I think this game isn't going for that. So I think it's hard to compare on those fronts.
Mhm.
But, no, yeah. I mean, it is a video. You must play Metal Gear Solid 1 to play this game, right? It's a requirement.
Mhm.
Is so reliant on that. It's almost like it was the part 1 to these next 2 parts or something. I don't know, but yeah, I get it. For me, it's number 1, and I do love Metal Gear Solid though as well. I will say that. But
yeah. Go ahead, Jack.
I think for me, like I love Metal Gear Solid 1. I agree with Omar that the cast of like the villains, especially, as well as your team, is pretty excellent. I think that's sort of the standout part of that. I think both of these games try to say something with their story. I think Metal Gear Solid 1's story is a little muddled by the end of that, and it's like very convoluted, and it's hard to sort of decipher what that game's trying to say. But I think with Metal Gear Solid 2, I wouldn't say that it's convoluted, but I'd say it's purposefully confusing. And by the end of that game, you're just left thinking about it so much. And the fact that it does happen to be timely today is incredible. I think it's very possible that this game could have been looked at as quaint if the story didn't come out. Like, us playing this in 2021 and we just resonate with it so much because that it's just talking about our present is insane. And I think this was just like a home run of a game. So yeah, I think this is one of gaming's bests, I would say.
Yeah. And like Metal Gear Solid 1 is like, it's iconic, right? And I think in my heart it's number one and always will be. That was my first Metal Gear, but I think from everything we've talked about on a ranking, I think 2 just pulls ahead with the fact that it was able to land, right? Like, I love how weird and bullshit Metal Gear Solid 1's ending gets, but I think like all of us can agree that the way they stick the landing in this game is very impressive. So as a group, I think Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty at number 1, and at number 2, Metal Gear Solid.
Does MGS3 release on PS3 when that launches, or PS2?
PS2.
2.
Really?
Yeah, 3 years after this, maybe?
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Holy shit. Okay, so then MGS4 is PS3.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, I see. Interesting. Okay.
So
I think MGS4 was the only mainline MGS to release on PS3.
Right, because Rising is PS3 too, right? And Peace Walker is PSP.
yes.
Right.
Well, you can play Ground Zeroes on PS3. That's technically mainline, but
Oh,
You can play Pan and Pan on PS3 too.
Holy
oh
fuck.
right.
Wait,
I wasn't
really?
sure. I wasn't 100%
You can play
sure.
just that on
but-
PS3?
Yeah, it's a PS3 game.
What the
that's a
fuck?
2015 game.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So,
PS3 had a long life.
Yikes.
Damn.
That's true. I had
Talk
no
about
clue.
cross-gen, guys. You know what I'm saying?
Never mind. I was totally
That's
wrong. I had no clue that game could be played on PS3.
I had no idea.
That's like well, it's a little different, but that's like Breath of the Wild being a Wii U game. It's like, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's a great port of that game. From what I understand, like I know on consoles it's like a stable 60, but apparently on PS3 it's like lock 30 and 720p, which is pretty impressive for. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
I'll play the PS3 version for everyone so we find out.
No, don't do that.
I have to take the bullet. Don't worry.
Oh no.
So, we've reached the end of Metal Gear Solid 2. We have our rankings. I guess we'll go how we normally do around the table. Final thoughts on Metal Gear Solid 2. Any words left to be said. Plug what you would like to plug. And then any words you want to get out there before Metal Gear Solid 3. Again, no spoilers, but for the returning players, things you want to focus on. You know, the way we've been doing it for the past 2. And then Kevin, I just want to know every single idea you have about what you're playing for Metal Gear Solid 3.
All right.
So
sounds good.
Kevin should probably go last.
Yeah.
Jack, hit you with all your stuff.
Sure. You could follow me on social media at Fascinated Jack. Christian and I will be transitioning with our Marvel's Avengers podcast. Excelsior, we got some more news to talk about in terms of that game. Is a raid coming? Maybe. It seems likely. Also, Falcon and the Winter Soldier is starting to release next week, or I guess
Let's
this
go.
upcoming Friday for you. So we will be reviewing that as well. As for final thoughts of this game, I think it's pretty immaculate. I think some gameplay is annoying with having to hold down like several buttons to do certain things, but I think it's a successful refinement of the original Metal Gear Solid gameplay to the PS2, and the story that it tells is just very compelling. As for expectations going into Metal Gear Solid 3, I'm sort of more focused on how the gameplay will improve, because while I do think Metal Gear Solid 2's gameplay was better than its predecessor, I do think there is some clear room for refinement So I'm most especially looking for that. I think I have a better understanding of MGS3's story than I did for 2's, so I think I have a better sense of what to expect from that. But mostly gameplay focused for me, so excited to see how that improves.
Very nice. Omar, what's up?
Yeah, I have a Twitch channel. I recently read The Giving Tree. If you want to check that stream, there's a VOD of it on. It's a fucking emotional. The shit's still sad. I don't know. It's a great book. I'm reading more poetry all month, I think. So come check it out.
I just did not anticipate.
Yeah, I'm not playing games anymore.
I fucking feel you, bro.
Cool. What was Metal Gear Solid 2 is far and away my favorite game ever made. There's nothing really quite like it, and I don't even think Kojima ever came close to it ever before or after. And it's always in my thoughts every night. Metal Gear Solid 3, I'm excited to play again. Next week? I have a lot of questions in my mind about this, and I'm excited to get my answers. I'm also curious. In the time since I last played Metal Gear Solid 3, I think it might have invented a genre. So I'm looking forward to getting back into it and seeing what's up with that. So yeah. Thanks for the plug.
Hell yeah. Me, you can find on Twitter, Twitch, and TikTok at Shun2D2. This is one of the best games ever made. This is the first 10 out of 10 I've played this year. Because I believe this game's a 10 out of 10. I think that in a lot of ways I had these ideas too of like, we did an entire episode of like, oh, they should remake Metal Gear Solid, and maybe they should take some liberties with it and get really crazy with it the way Final Fantasy VII Remake does. I think that's what this game did, and after
100%.
playing this game, I don't want them to remake Metal Gear Solid anymore, because they kind of did it the way I wanted here.
I didn't want to say it last week, but yeah, or whatever that episode was, but I agree with you.
Yeah, like, it's such a, yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a unique game, like, truly, you know, people will say, like, oh, our game's unique, it's doing new things. Like, I think firmly that this game is just so confident that it makes everything work. And for all the other reasons we've talked about on this episode, like, it is one of the best games ever made. I can stand by that. And as far as Metal Gear Solid 3 goes, I don't want to... I'm not going to like paint expectations in any way, but I'm very curious to see how I think of this game playing it over multiple weeks, the same way I did with Metal Gear Solid 2, because I binged the series originally, my first time playing and my only time playing, and I have significantly more positive things and love about 2, so I'm curious to see how that translates to 3. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the story, because I don't recall all of it, and I'm interested to see how it paints me after I just had this experience these past few weeks. But Kevin,
yes,
let's hear your plugs. Let's hear your final thoughts on Metal Gear Solid 2, and let's hear what you're everything you want to say about Metal Gear Solid 3. I want to know everything.
YouTube.com/PlayStationSource. You can watch now in full entirety MGS1 playthrough and MGS2 playthrough as we continue on. Ratchet & Clank wrapping up. Resistance is starting up after that, so pretty cool to see that right there. But Metal Gear Solid 3 will be streamed live as well. Metal Gear Wednesdays, you know what I'm saying? How I feel about Metal Gear Solid 2, fuck. I don't even know if I can even answer that yet. Like, sure. I know like that's a huge cop out, but like it's a similar vein of like when people ask me like, oh, you know, how did you feel about part 2 after I beat it? I was like, I cannot answer that right now. Mm-hmm. You know, like now I can answer it, but in the moment I can't. But like I did enjoy Metal Gear Solid 2. It was certainly a ride. right? Like it was certainly a ride, but like it was not the type of ride and journey that like I've had with like God of War or like Last of Us Part 2 or even like OG Last of Us, but like it was a ride that took me down avenues that I didn't know existed or were able to be even gone down in gaming. You know, like I never. It's a really unique game for sure. And like to even like talk about like the core game itself, it's gorgeous for a PS2 game. It's like I know we're playing the remake from the like the HD version, but it looks gorgeous. I love that there's like so much detail in here, like even from like shadowing to like the way that I didn't even know that you could get alerted by your shadow if you're too close to a wall and a light source, you know? Different stuff like that. Like there's just so much like technical detail in this game that really does make it feel more modern than what it seems, you know? So yeah, Metal Gear Solid 2 was a thing. Yeah, it was fucking wild. Yeah. So where do I think we're going from here, boys? Okay. So I mean, are we gonna figure out the whole Patriots thing? Like, do we get is that what we're chasing? Man, like I don't even know where we're going from here. Like I would like to see a follow up to like Snake and Colonel. You know, like if they actually ever interact again. From that standpoint, would like to see that. Of course, my boy Otakon out here. Maybe there's some fallout between him losing his sister, but then also it's like, you know, I think it was cool for me to think about the sequel to MGS2 after MGS1, not knowing how this series is tending to play out. But fuck, like I think MGS3 is gonna be something that like I don't know if I'm gonna be able to even predict where we go next at this point. You know, like not even like guess in like a really effective way, to be honest. You know, for all I know, like this next game could be just all in just fucking VR. I don't know. You know, I would like to see it move forward though in the timeline. You know, for sure. I don't think we'll ever see Raiden again. I don't think we'll ever see him play it. But even though he is on the suspect list of possible sword users for Rising Revengeance, I just don't see it. I don't think we play as Raiden ever again. But then it's like, damn, do we even play as Snake again? Wouldn't that be something? You know? Wouldn't that be something? Huh.
I have one other question.
Yes, please.
The title of the game, you know.
Okay, yeah, okay. That's Snake Eater.
Yes. Any idea?
The fuck does that mean? Snake Eater. Snake Eater.
Isn't that what the turtle was doing on the big shell in that map thing? Or
oh, you know what? Maybe.
Snake Eater. Snake Eater. I got nothing. Snake Eater.
maybe
Okay,
you
so
tried
what?
seeing that.
Wait, what eats snakes? I feel like birds eat snakes, right? Like
an eagle or something.
yeah, like falcon eagle type thing. So I guess that kind of has ties to Patriots and stuff a little bit, you know.
Could a snake eat itself? Maybe.
Yeah, there's that image, right? There's that philosophical thing about the snake that's just eating its tail. I mean, you saw what Sons of Liberty meant. You know, that was just a one line at the end of the game. So.
Which, like, I don't even know if I really understand. Like, I don't even know if I really understand that title, to be honest with you. Oh fuck, man. Man, I'm just. This is Kojima's world. I'm just stumbling across it, trying to figure it out. You know. I'm not gonna lie. It is a little bit stressful, a little bit. Like
How come?
you know, like it's a little bit like unsettling and stressful. Like where we're. Like what could possibly happen?
Like
and
what follows this up, right? Like
literally,
yeah.
like, yeah, right. Like, I mean, because there's, like, we still have Peace Walker, we have Rising Revengeance, we have fucking MGS4, and then we have all of MGS5. You know.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll see what happens next week.
What can we possibly be doing next, bro? It stresses me out.
To quote Blink-182, where do we go from here?
Well,
to quote a COD Zombies song, where are we going from here? You know what I'm saying? Very, very close.
We will see. But next week will be the beginning of Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. Again, by the time you're listening to this next Monday. If you want to see the show on YouTube, you can go to youtube.com/joyclicks. Each chapter of the Longplay Club, when I say, well, each game has its own playlist. So Metal Gear Solid 2, its playlist is complete now. Metal Gear Solid 3 will be its own playlist for the Longplay Club next week. If you want the audio version, because the show runs long, you can listen to it on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or any other podcast service of your choosing. If you enjoy the show, be sure to leave a review or a 5-star rating if you enjoy it, because it helps us out. And if you want to get involved further, patreon.com/joyclicks, the $1 tier, the $5 tier. $5 gets you producer credit on all of our shows, like Chris Ackes and Aaron Easton. And yeah, this is the interstitial at this point. So next week we'll be kicking off with a brand new game. No in-between episode like there was the first time. As far as what we're playing into the game, to be determined on a specific cutoff point, but probably the first 3 hours. That's usually how we chunk it out with this show.
I'm pretty sure Metal Gear Solid 3 has like a pretty decent cutoff point in the beginning, right? Do you know the one I'm talking about?
I think it does.
Yeah, okay.
Do we want to, because I was going to say that's what the plan was originally, but I don't know how long that's going to take. Like, there's new mechanics, too. So, like, I don't know. Do we just want to say for episode 1, similar to what we did with the tanker, we just do the first chunk?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I think so.
So,
is there a way that you guys can define that?
Yes, pretty easily. I'm pretty sure.
Is there a name for it?
There is, but I don't know if it's a spoiler.
Well, can we say title card? Would that count?
Maybe like a visual type of thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, when you see this, stop.
Yeah, we can say this, right? There's a title card moment, right? No?
Holy shit, we ended the title card moment?
Is that where I'm thinking it is, though, with like the water?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? We'll get back to you. I'm pretty sure.
We can look through a video long play, and
we have to see that title card before the next week episode, though.
Yeah, absolutely, we have to. Yes.
Okay. Don't fuck me on that. We have to see that.
No, we do. You're right.
Okay.
So, that's gonna do it. So until next week, what's our final word quote for Metal Gear Solid 2? Is there one that's sticking out?
There's so much, you know.
Brothers.
I think it has to be the most important quote of this game. Laugh and grow fat.